Mayor, a quorum is present, so we are ready to start whenever you are.
This is the regular meeting for February 4, 2026, convening at 6:34 p.m. City Clerk, can you please do roll call?
Councilmember Bregman.
Here.
Councilmember Nakanishi. Here. Councilmember Craig Hensley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hothy. Mayor Yepez.
Okay, I will ask the City Clerk.
Mayor Yepez, you're here. I'll just say.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
say for the record.
I'm already on the next item. Could you introduce the item for tonight, City Attorney?
I will. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council will convene in closed session regarding C2A, public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code 54957B for the interim city manager position. Item C2B, conference on labor negotiation with all of the city's bargaining groups, unrepresented employees, confidential mid-managers, appointed employees pursuant to Government Code 54957.6. And item C2C, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, 2 cases pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2.
Is there any public comments on closed session items?
Mayor, I don't have any comment cards for closed session, but we do have a number of residents in the audience, so I just want to make a quick announcement. If you are here for an agenda item and you would like to speak on that agenda item, there are comment cards up in the front and in the back. They look like this. If you can please fill one out and just note up here whether it's an agenda item that's on the agenda, and you right here, or if it's not on the agenda, mark it right there, and you're more than welcome to come bring it up here.
Thank you so much. Council is adjourning to closed session at 6:35 p.m. Council returning from closed session at 7:04 p.m. City Attorney, could you please report on closed session items?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Council convened in closed session regarding item C2A, public employee appointments pursuant to Government Code 54957B. Item C2B, conference with labor negotiations regarding all the city's bargaining groups and unrepresented and represented and appointed employees pursuant to Government Code 54957.6. And item C2C, conference with legal counsel on two anticipated litigation matters pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, and there's no reportable action at this time.
Thank you, City Attorney. I'm going to invite Reverend Nelson Rabel from the Iglesia Luterana Santa Maria Peregrina for the invocation / call to civic responsibility.
Let us pray. Triune God, whose will is that human beings live in community, bless all of us here and everywhere. Fill our homes with respect, joy, laughter, and prayer. Strengthen the commitment we have for each other so that we may all mirror as a community, as a city of Lodi, your covenant, your faithfulness, your love, and your concern for all people. May we have unconditional love for all of those who are unhoused. And may you empower all families, all members of this community, to care for each other. In your gracious name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, now we will do the flag salute.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular meeting for February 4, 2026, convening at 7:07 p.m. City Clerk, can you please do roll call?
Councilmember Bregman.
Here.
Councilmember Nakanishi. Here. Councilmember Craig Hensley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hothy.
Here.
Mayor Yepez.
Here.
Thank you.
So before we start, today, given how many people are here and for the sake of efficiency and clarity, I'm going to reduce the comments from the public to 2 minutes for all the items for the rest of the night. So just public comments. City Clerk, could you please introduce the consent calendar?
Yes, Mayor. Tonight we have items C1 to C9. There are no changes to the consent calendar, so we submit it as is for council's review and approval.
Will any member of the council would like to pull an item for consent to vote on separately? Seeing none, would any member of the public would like to pull an item for discussion? Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion for the consent calendar.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. City Clerk, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, yes, I do have at least 2 comment cards. I have a stack, so I will be going through them to see if there's any more, but I will start with the 2 that I have in front of me. The first one I have is from Claire Bakta.
Hello, Council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name's Claire Bakta with Open Innovation Centers, and I just wanted to come and bring good news about Lodi, because great things start in Lodi. We are an educational nonprofit specializing in new-collar skills. Those are high-tech skills that do not require 4-year degrees. We have a center here on East Victor Road on the east side, and we are launching, thanks to a North Valley Thrive Catalyst grant, we're launching 3 new workforce development classes, and and these are aligned with industry certifications. And so if people in Lodi are looking to change jobs, reskill, or change their lives, we are teaching a 3D boot camp. We are providing 7 badges in additive manufacturing. We're doing video game design, and we're even partnering with the Lodi Library, where we're going to be teaching how to design for AR/VR headsets. So we're doing exciting things. We just wanted to share it. And I have some flyers for you I'll give you after, as well as a 3D printed dragon for each of you so you can talk, touch, feel. We're about play, fun, and really changing the lives of the people around us. So thank you very much.
Year of the Dragon? Is it? I don't know what it is.
The next comment card I have is from Diane Nat.
City Clerk, can you adjust the clock because it still says 5 minutes? So
Oh, my apologies.
Mayor, Council, my name is Diane Nant, and I have the pleasure of walking downtown several times a week for my exercise. And I would like the council and perhaps the paper to acknowledge those women and men who clean the sidewalks with brooms and dustpans. I thank them every time I see them for keeping our city clean. And I know it can be probably frustrating to them that at times they're out there sweeping, and those with mental problems who camp out in front of businesses leave a big mess for them to clean up. But I just think that they do a great job, and I would like to acknowledge them. Thank you.
The next comment card I have is from Tara Vallone.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tara Vallone. I'm a longtime resident of Lodi. We live on the corner of West Elm and Mills. I've lived in my home for 8 years with my husband, and we're raising 2 small children. Our roots go deeper than that. My husband's grandparents lived in the same home since it was built in 1961. We love our neighborhood and this town, but over the years, we've watched traffic safety concerns escalate to dangerous levels. I know the city focuses heavily on public safety. Tonight, I'd like to bring you a real on-the-ground example of where those priorities are failing in our neighborhood. We live on the stretch near Reese Elementary and Millswood Middle. However, I want to be very clear, this is not about only school zone issues. While the school traffic is heavy, dangerous driving occurs 24/7. It happens at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. It happens on Saturday mornings. It happens every day at all hours. As I'm a stay-at-home mother, I'm at home quite a bit, and I hear and I see a lot. It has reached a point where I cannot let my children play in our own front yard without putting a neon slow down safety figure in the middle of the road. Even with that sign out, I watch cars fly past at speeds that would be fatal if a child stepped off the curb. Traffic incidents and collisions are not new to us. They happen continuously. The most recent major accident occurred on January 22nd, right in front of Reese Elementary, while school children and faculty were present. While we understand the specific crash was caused by a medical emergency, seeing a wreck of that magnitude just 15 minutes after school dismissal highlighted a terrifying reality. There's zero margin for error on our street. Whether it's a medical emergency or more commonly distracted and reckless driving, our families are exposed. We have seen children hit and pets killed in the past. We shouldn't have to wait for our luck to run out. I'm not a traffic engineer, and I respect that determining this specific issue is the city's role. But as a resident who sees this every single day, I can tell you that the current painted lines, flashing lights, and stop signs are not enough to physically slow people down. We're asking the council to direct staff. We're asking the council to direct staff to do 3 things. Review the traffic behavior on West Elm between Mills and Lower Sac, focusing on speeds outside of school hours. Evaluate why current measures are failing and identify immediate physical improvements to protect our families. Thank you.
thank you for coming.
The next comment card.
May I just make a comment
Yes.
on that, since it's in my district? And I've heard the concerns before, Ms. Malone, from you and others. I would ask, I mean, you know, it's in my district everywhere. It's over on Turner Road. We've been dealing with that. We're looking at developing some type of a safety plan and taking a look at a traffic study there. Maybe the time is right. I'm sure Chief can provide police reports relative to what accidents have occurred, if it's speeding, if it's just ignoring the stops and, you know, driving through them. And I know a big concern is around school time, because the kids are walking there, and I've seen that myself. So I do think it merits a look by our traffic folks to see if there are issues there, and PD to perhaps do a little bit more monitoring of the area. So thank you for bringing that issue.
The next comment card is from Andrew Avina.
Good evening, members of the Lodi City Council. I must admit, I feel a bit small standing in front of you today, but it is with full gratitude that I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Andrew Avina, and I represent the NorCal Science and Technology Festival. It is one of my highest honors to speak for our team of young leaders who are shaping the future of innovation and science right here at the heart of the Central Valley. I'm here today to extend a very special invitation to you all, one that comes as a result of months of hard work and planning. The NorCal Science Festival is a celebration of curiosity, learning, and discovery accessible for all ages. We have brought together a group of scientists, engineers, and educators to explore how science can affect our everyday lives, and we would be thrilled if you can find time in your busy schedule to attend Saturday, February 21st at Lodi High School. Go Flames. I am also pleased to showcase our new poster, which highlights the fact that this is our 10th festival. It reflects not only a growth of our small hometown event, but also represents the countless hours of planning and teamwork it took to bring this very special day to life. We hope that it will inspire everyone who sees it to explore their wonder in science. None of this would be possible without the generous support of our presenters. I want to extend a very heartfelt thank you to the City of Lodi Electric for helping us bring this vision to light. More specifically, Tim Cones and Justine Delgado for bringing their expertise to the field by tabling for us. They will be hosting a booth called Electricity Lights the World, and their presence and continued support illustrates how institutions can partner with young leaders to create opportunities to inspire the youth. Additionally, I also want to highlight some of my fellow committee members who sadly could not be here tonight. It has been an honor to work alongside them, and in fact, one of them is here today, Peyton Piper. They serve as a reminder that investment in young adults and teens is an investment for the future of our community. Tonight, I warmly invite all of you, young, old, curious, and skeptical, to attend the 10th anniversary of the NorCal Science Festival. We have a few tricks up our sleeves this year, not to give anything away, that ensures this festival remains fresh and ever-changing. Your support means the world to us, and we ourselves are always looking to celebrate science together as one community. Thank you for your time, attention, and dedication to making Lodi a place where learning, curiosity, and innovation thrive.
Yeah, that was very good.
When John Della Monica's face goes red, you know something incredible's happened.
So to follow that, Aaron Van Nortwick.
I won't talk that fast. Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Aaron Van Nortwick. I am speaking this evening on behalf of the Lodi Parks and Recreation Commission regarding Lawrence Park. Lawrence Park is one of Lodi's oldest neighborhood parks with roots going back to the mid-1920s. It was acquired by city to provide public open space and recreational opportunity for residents on the northeast side, which probably at that time was just the north side. And it's been part of the fabric of that community. Today, however, Lawrence Park is not fully meeting its potential. The park has experienced years of deferred maintenance and lacks amenities that would encourage regular positive use by residents. From the Commission's perspective, there's been clear opportunity and need for renovation, beautification, and thoughtful reinvestment to ensure the park serves the current and future generations. In the past years, it was discussed, Lawrence Park was discussed as a potential site for a skate park. The Commission appointed a skate park subcommittee to develop some scope of work and the design of the skate park, including development of the park amenities, such as a playground, picnic shelter, and restroom. That concept generated interest, but it appears that the city has since stepped away from that direction. As a result, the park remains without defined long-term plan, which we believe contributes to its current underutilization. We also discussed the police department's canine use of training in the park, and we appreciate the police being there, but their current footprint of the training limits the park's accessibility and limits the neighborhood feel. We asked that be explored to find a different location for the canine training that suit their operational needs. We'd also like to share our perspective on the recent discussion town hall meeting regarding potential sale of a small portion of Lawrence Park to the new owners of the American Legion Hall. While we understand the financial and practical considerations involved, the commission has concerns about selling public parkland, even in small amounts. Reducing Lawrence Park would disproportionately impact the city and those in that part of town. Given the city's ongoing budget challenges, the commission believes that there should be a more balanced alternative. We recommend considering maybe a long-term lease agreement. This would be with the American Legion Hall ownership and maybe paired with a creative partnership that allows for shared investment into Lawrence Park. Potential enhancements could include a small or soccer or futsal space, basketball multi-use, maybe revisiting the skate park, as well as a walking path around and improving landscaping, lighting, safety, usability, and pride in the park. These types of improvements.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt you, but we're today.
Almost done, yeah. Almost
yeah.
done.
So,
In closing, the Parks and Rec Commission encourages the council to view Lawrence Park as an opportunity and an opportunity to reinvest and collaborate and to ensure equitable access to those on the northeast side of Lodi. Thank you for your time.
I want to invite Councilwoman Craig that had a town hall meeting that I attended. So
Yeah,
give us some.
we have, and Mr. Van Norwick, you were there, were you not?
I was not.
Oh, you were the one, yeah, okay. We did have three others there, yeah, and Brett made a point of saying much of what you had said. Just so folks are aware, at least myself and Councilmember Yepez, obviously we share districts in this area, and that is an extremely important and very historic park for Lodi. I think that the effort underway with the Legion Hall is actually a very positive change in that location. So we're looking forward to seeing that project completed, whatever component of it may be leased, sold, whatever. But I think in the town hall that we had done, what we did here was there is support for a PD presence. People felt in the neighborhood that it was keeping them safe. So maybe that's an option moving forward in the future to take a look at another location. But they do more than the canine training there. They do agility. Chief was telling me about a youth academy they're going to have out there. And we totally agree, and the community agreed, that there needs to be uses that are family-centered. So restrooms, again, picnic tables, can we play soccer out there, basketball court, even community gardens were discussed. Make it very much a family-centered area for those people who, a walking trail was discussed as well. So I think we're going to move forward with the idea of doing a survey for the entire community Partnerships for Families, 180 Teen Center, and others have volunteered to help us with that effort and to get the word out and hear more from the community about what improvements they want to see to make Lawrence Park a family park again. So I appreciate your commitment and Parks bringing that issue to the table, because it aligns very much with Mayor Yepez and I's approach to working together to make improvements to that location. So thank you.
All right, Mayor, that's all the non-agenda public comment cards that I have for tonight, but you're welcome to open it up to.
Okay. Thank you. So I will invite anyone in the audience if they would like to speak on a non-agenda item right now. Seeing none, before we go to council comments, I'm gonna give city manager the opportunity to share some news.
Great, thank you. Mayor and City Council, I am very honored to be able to introduce our new IT manager, Joe Caswell. So we welcome him as part of the Lodi team. This is a critical position that we are very, very fortunate to have filled. So thank you for that opportunity to introduce Joe to the community and yourselves this evening.
would you like to come to the podium and? Sorry to put you on the spot, but we do that here.
Hello. Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Joe Caswell. I'm very honored to take this position as your IT manager. A bit of my history, just so you know, I come to you from HSA, Human Services Agency for the county, running their IT department. And before that, I was the Chief Deputy Treasurer Tax Collector. So if you have a tax bill in the county, I made that tax bill, thank you. I'm here to get the work done. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to move to council comments on non-agenda items.
Can you see it? Okay, good. It works today, all right. Yeah, just appreciate the opportunity to talk about Lawrence Park and the town hall. I want to thank Christina and your team for being there. Chief, appreciate your presence there. We also had our three of the parks commissioners, our supervisor, Steve Ding, and his staff were there, along with Visit Lodi and the Chamber of Commerce. And it was really a good gathering and a discussion. So we'll continue that conversation moving forward. We'll be looking, I see Bertha's over here, we'll be looking for input and assistance from our partners like you to get the word out to all of the community members that we really are very interested in hearing what they have to say. And we can move forward with things. We just need to know their priorities. So I'd also mention that I participated the other day in Grape Day. A lot of technical discussions about irrigation and pests that y'all don't have to sit through, but it is very informative, and the luncheon speaker did talk about some of our challenges in this area. We are really dependent on our wine industry, and it employs people here. It creates opportunities for entry-level jobs. So supporting our ag community, our wine community is important. Three big things that came out of that: Americans are drinking less wine, sad to say. California is losing market share at about 20%, so California wines weren't what California wines were when I was growing up. And we have a wine inventory glut. The good news is that they think that that wine inventory glut has been addressed, and we might see more purchases of grapes in the future. But you know, we really, it's going to be about getting more people coming here to appreciate our wine and getting our industry, our grape industry, into higher priced bottles. That's what it came down to. So it's something that if I could figure out how to make this all work with a piece of legislation at the city council level, I would, but it's not the type of thing that we do. But buy more wine, okay? That's all I have to say right now. Buy more wine. Please support Lodi Wine. Buy Lodi Wine in the grocery stores. Become a wine club member. We can do what we can do in our community, so I encourage that. Lastly, I participated in the last San Joaquin Council of Governments meeting. Very quiet, took 15 minutes, the shortest COG meeting I think I've been in. And thanks to Mr. Hothi's absence, I was able to sit in the SenCal meeting as your alternative. So learned a lot about that and appreciate the pretty pictures that Chief Johnson showed us of the new EMS vehicles that are going to be the SenCal vehicles. So it really is a wonderful cooperative relationship between South County, Stockton, Lodi, Tracy. So we're very fortunate to have those chiefs all working very closely together. So thank you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from council? Seeing none, we'll move to the first, to our regular calendar.
Yes. Mayor, item G1 is to receive an update from the Lodi Senior Citizens Commission. And while we are getting all that set up, I'm just going to do one more reminder that if you want to speak on an item on the agenda, there's comment cards in the front and in the back. You're more than welcome to fill one out and then drop it right in here. And with that, I will turn it over to our senior commission here to provide their presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am Dr. Joe Welfel, and of course our audience, speaking on behalf as a servant of our commission. Commission on Aging. And we're going to be presenting this evening our goals for 2025 and their accomplishments. So I will be brief on all of these. To begin with, the vision and goals of our commission: identify, discuss, and introduce and establish programs, projects, and resources to better meet the ongoing needs of our senior community. In reference to that, we feel very strongly about alignment. California's Master Plan for Aging and our own City Council strategic vision, which is also being addressed as we speak. We feel strongly it's important to align what we do as a commission with California and locally here in Lodi. So very important for us. Our primary goal and accomplishment, I'm happy to say, is really to establish a senior social cafe or senior cafe, meeting every quarter at Lowell Center, and we thank Janelle Wilkerson for that opportunity to be at Lowell on behalf of our seniors. And the goal of our project there is really the senior needs and concerns. A safe place for those seniors to voice what their concerns, needs, and to socialize with others. And the socialization is very important. Our action is really to listen and respond to the voices of the people. That's what it's all about. I think as a community, that's what it's all about. Develop an action plan in response to the cafe participants' questions and recommendations. Our first senior cafe was held in February 2025, and it began with a presentation by then Mayor Cameron Bregman, and we thank him for the presentation. It was well received by all participating in that cafe. Also, Elise Vigil, Deputy Director for Human Service Agency, gave an excellent presentation on the services that they provide so that seniors were aware of what resides within our own domain here. Very important for people to know about what happens. Additionally, one of the focal points is questions from the participants. And so that was an important aspect. A variety of things are there. I won't go into them all, but knowing what questions folks have and being able to address those things. And that is essentially a major part of what we do. And some of that focused on our website, our City of Lodi website, and for improving things there. I won't go into all the specifics. One last part is shown there. What kind of presentations do our seniors need? And Alzheimer's, a topic that is of major significance for so many in our community and in Lodi. So with that, in our next senior cafe, we did address that. We had Denise Davis with the Alzheimer's Foundation give an excellent presentation about all aspects and about the needs of caregivers as well. Feedback from the important part is feedback, of course. We gave feedback about our February Senior Cafe. Some of the things mentioned, the website, phone numbers that people can call when they have needs, very important for those aspects, and then questions from the participants. But also to interject the aspect that we as council members take action. What are those actions? What do people know about what we do behind the scenes? And so that we wanted to bring forward with those participants so that they knew or know what we are doing on their behalf. August, a presentation on advanced directives by Adventist Health Lodi Memorial. Feedback from our past senior cafe, and then past commission meeting actions. And again, sharing that. The November meeting also was much the same, with a presentation, in this case on palliative care. Those topics that are important for seniors, a loved one who is perhaps not doing as well as used to be, and folks need help in those times. Feedback from the prior cafe, and then past commission meetings and action plan, one of which focused on the city website, which, as we know, is in the works right now for 2026 this year for improving, for adding many different aspects to that. a very important topic. We ask folks for what are their needs as to presentations. So one of the key things is the new city manager and our mayor to address our group and have that opportunity to meet and see and hear what the needs are. Senior safety by our fire chief, city partners on the home alone and possibilities for some senior checks of those who are alone in their home, use of cell phones, the rising cost of wastewater, and the senior grief support groups that might be available for folks who are in need. And Friday, we are going to be addressing Wills and Trusts, a presentation at our Senior Cafe to be held this Friday at 9 a.m. So Senior Cafe is making a difference. It's a voice, and that's what we feel is so important. Last year, 2024, our goal was to establish senior resources, a guide in both English and Spanish. That is an ongoing project, continuing to update and add new services that will help our seniors. So that senior resource guide, it will be placed on our city's website so that folks have the ability to view that. Some of the programs included water fitness and walkability, senior safety. And really, if I had to say something about where do these come from, they come directly from our California Master Plan for Aging and from our own vision and goals here. Those include environmental safety, lifelong, healthy aging, so important for all. And these are some of the listings that we have there for things that are found in that brochure. The Red Alert Program, emergency preparedness and response, lifelong healthy age and geriatric care expansion. So Red Alert Cooling Centers, the police department, and their Project Lifesaver, and then the annual health fair put on by the University of Pacific and the students and faculty there. And here's a brochure that we had used for identifying the Medicare clinics that are held at Lowell and at Hutchins Street Square. Numbers were excellent this year on behalf of all the participants. Immunizations, health screenings, and of course, Medicare Part D assistance, because as you all know, the Medicare programs change each year, and folks need to examine that so that their out-of-pocket cost is low or lowest that it can be. So some of those things, Adventist Health, our adult daycare, Terry Whitmire in that program is an excellent program. Lowell Center, of course, for all of our seniors, quite a gathering place, offering so many diverse services. The Medi-Cal Healthcare Alzheimer's Association will continue with those types of programs as well. And then, again, this alignment aspect, a review of the 25-26 California Master Plan for Aging. We looked at that to see what had been added, and we were able to identify some actions that we could actually take in addressing. Some of those included the advanced directives presented at one of our cafes, palliative care at another, and our affordable aging aspects that are really from Lowell Center, and also adding the Medicare program. The average beneficiary savings is almost $1,000 per beneficiary or patient, not just here in Lodi. I'm talking across the board for where Pacific reaches out, including telephonic support for those seniors. Coming soon, there will be a Public Works Department transportation team presentation to us as commissioners, which will then be also added to the calendar for our Senior Cafe. Wills and Trusts, that's going to be on Friday, a nice presentation. They've requested organ donations, I should say, and the new Medicare and Medi-Cal or Medicaid changes that have occurred. A falls presentation for preventing falls in our senior population, so devastating, and our new city manager and the mayor to talk and speak with and listen to those questions that they may have. And then a big part will be also how to navigate the city's new website. We feel that's a real great resource. Returning our Senior Cafe, of course, we want to continue on with that. It has been so beneficial and been a great yield. And then our Medicare health fairs. October and November of 2026, they are held. So in the end, it's all about advocating for our seniors. That is really our purpose. And listening and responding to the voices of the people. You are the folks that count. Our senior population needs to be heard. If you have a senior that needs help, we are here to help you. So also continuing on with building partnerships with others to benefit our seniors. So I want to thank you all for allowing me to present on behalf of our commissioners this evening. And our commissioners, those who are present, if you could stand and introduce yourself and be thanked for all that you do.
I'm Janelle Wilkinson. I'm honored to work for the Lowell Senior Center. And if you've never been, I would love to have you come join me for a cup of coffee or lunch sometime. Eric Whitmire,
My name is Rhea Jones. I'm the newest person on the team, so I'm kind of at a learning curve, and I'm very excited to do it. Thank you.
So we thank all of you for your ongoing help for our senior population. Thank you. And thank you again.
So first of all, I want to thank you for that presentation. It was very informative, and you presented the information very well, concise, and I learned a lot. And so this Friday, is it the coffee this Friday?
Coffee this Friday,
Oh.
and some snacks too. Pastries, perhaps.
So what time?
They're in the duty of
What time is it?
it's at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Well,
I will come this Friday then.
Yeah.
Just to
So-
meet people.
sure. We welcome all of you to come. So.
Okay, I'm going to invite Councilman Nakanishit.
Thank you so much. I want to outline the Lower Center. When I was younger, my older seniors would go to Lower Center. And we're lucky we have Lower Center. My question is, you said call this number for walkability. Now, if I call that number, what kind of information will it give me as a senior?
So, great question. And walkability, what is that program? The program is designed so that an individual who looks at a sidewalk as they're perhaps walking, and they see that it's not level, and it could be a fall or a trip hazard. We want that person to call the city and notify Public Works. You can call the city clerk, let them know where you are and what is the problem. And City Works has done an excellent job of coming out very quickly and repairing those things. Again, it's all part of keeping our seniors healthy and preventing a fall from happening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Gregg.
Ms. Wolfel, you stay there. I do want to commend you all. I remember a couple of years ago when I would go to the Senior Citizens Committee and talked about the fact that we really need alignment with our strategic vision. You guys took that up, and you were the very first to do it. I think maybe the Youth Commission was the second. So, I just want to thank you for being cognizant of the fact that that's what we need to do as a city, is align. And I think that was a very appropriate use of that term, and also with our county and state programs. So I appreciate the effort you guys put in, and you have a very involved Senior Citizens Committee. So we're fortunate for that. And I would just state, anytime you send a letter to the city manager asking for things, please copy the council members, because
Very
it helps
good.
us understand. You are advisory to us.
Very
And
good.
so in that capacity, we need to do everything we can to help you meet your goals, because if you're meeting your goals, you're meeting our city's goals.
Very
So thank you very much to
Well,
to
thank
all the
you.
members.
We are servants of servants, as I always like to say.
Servants of servants, yes. Thank you.
Any more council comments? Seeing none, we will move to City Clerk. Do we have any public comments?
I don't have any comment cards for this item. If you are on Zoom and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand now. And Mayor, you're more than welcome to open it up to the audience.
Okay, thank you so much. So I would like to invite anyone in the audience to comment on the item that we just discussed? Seeing none, this is not an action item, so we can just go to the next item.
Yes. Item G2 is to receive, report, and adopt a resolution approving fiscal year 2025-2026 mid-year budget adjustments and approving the addition of 1 police officer, 1 senior billing specialist, 1 management analyst confidential, and a senior plans examiner, deletion of 1 customer service representative, and 1 health and safety specialist, and the reclassification of a deputy city clerk to an assistant city clerk, and program manager to a recreation manager, and adopt updates to the budget and fiscal policy. And I will turn it over to our budget team to take it away.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Good evening, Mayor Yepez, Mayor Pro Tem Hothi, and members of the council. I am here tonight to present the fiscal year 25-26 mid-year budget report. The fiscal year 26 budget covers the period beginning July 1st, 2025, and will end on June 30th, 2026. The mid-year report is a review of the first 6 months of the fiscal year, where we take a snapshot of the budget and we see where we are in regards to our budget plan that includes changes that have happened since adoption on June 4th, 2025, and recommend mid-year appropriations based on these salary and benefit and operational updates. Each year, the City of Lodi prepares a mid-year update recommending changes in appropriations to continue operations and projects during the year. The mid-year review includes all funds, and these funds have been reviewed for both revenue. Hold on. Is it good? I don't know. Sorry about that. Hold on, let me try to rebroadcast it.
When did we say the IT director is starting?
Is he still here? Okay, so I'm on slide 2. And I'll start over again on this one. Each year, the City of Lodi prepares a mid-year update recommending changes in appropriations to continue operations and projects during the year. Olivia, do you have the presentation I emailed you? Yeah.
Can we get Dang back up here? Dang, where did you go?
Yeah. Yeah. Except for everyone's gonna see my kids again. Okay, sorry about that again. It's not moving again. Yeah.
Can we just move this to the next council? Is this something that we're not able to figure out here? And can we load up the next presentation so that we're ready to go in case?
If council would like to move to G3 and come back to G2.
Yes, I think that'd be good. Are you okay? Is okay with them? Okay, let's move to the next item. And we'll go back to that one.
All right, so then we will go to G3 and then come back to G2. G3 is to adopt a resolution awarding operation of the Lodi Access Center and Emergency Shelter to the council-selected operator of Outreach Ministries International, Inc., based on ranking and recommendation provided by the Evaluation Committee, and authorizing city staff to negotiate an agreement and return to city council for final contract approval. And I will turn it over to community development.
Before the city attorney had a comment?
Yeah, we should probably take a motion to amend the agenda to flip-flop them, just since.
I'll make the motion to
Second.
change the agenda.
Thank you.
Mayor, members of City Council, thank you for having us today. Sorry, it's a little bit out of order. So hopefully mine will advance. Oh, sorry.
Okay, we're ready when you guys are ready.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so as the city clerk said, that we are here today for the Access Center operator request for proposals and sharing what those proposals were. And we're going to share an overview of the Access Center emergency shelter RFP process and evaluation, and adopt a resolution awarding Operation Lodi Access Center and Emergency Shelter to the council selected operator based on ranking and recommendation provided by the Evaluation Committee, and authorizing city staff to negotiate an agreement and return to city council with final contract approval. So the Access Center RFP overview. The Access Center RFP that was released a couple months ago was for 27 operations with 60 fixed beds and flexed to 208 beds per our prior point in time count. It is low barrier, accommodates partners, pets, possessions with wraparound services and pathways to housing, health, and stability. We will be collaborating with San Joaquin County Health and Behavioral Services and other community partners, including SJ Health, and this should cover full facility management. Just a brief summary of wraparound services. We went over this a bit before we developed the RFP, but day and night operations, 3 meals a day and snacks, hygiene facilities, clothing closet, 24/7 monitoring, case management, resource coordination, housing navigation and outreach, homeless management information system, entry, monthly reporting and outcome tracking, federal, state, and local compliance. Those last few are really important because every agency right now is looking for outcomes and metrics and understanding what those look like to ensure that any programs or projects that are getting funded are moving forward with expected positive outcomes, but also tracking any potential outcomes that may mean recidivism or anything like that to best approach practices moving forward. So just a brief overview of RFP timeline. There was a lot of things that went in between this, behind the scenes, but this is just kind of the high-level items. Is October 1st, City Council approved the draft and authorized our release of the draft of the final RFP. October 2nd, the RFP was released. October 22nd, we did hold a virtual pre-proposal meeting for any potential proposers. They could come, they could ask questions. We then released an FAQ as well. On November 3rd, the proposals were due. November 4th through 17th, eligibility determination. So that was kind of just review of the proposals, making sure that they met requirements, they weren't debarred from SAM.gov, all those items like that. December 2nd, 2025, our evaluation committee meeting to review and score eligible proposals occurred. That was an in-person meeting, so we did have the whole evaluation committee. We went over to Hutchins Street Square. We had all the proposals. They were printed out by the proposers, and everybody reviewed them in person and then had open opportunity for discussion and scoring. On December 10th, the evaluation committee then did the interviews of the top 3 proposals, and final recommendation is based on combined scoring. There were 5 proposals received by the deadline. However, 1 proposal was deemed non-responsive as they did not have all of the attachments. Because they did not have all the attachments, it wasn't deemed complete at that time. So we did have to reject that proposal, and we did formally notify them that same day. 4 proposals were evaluated. This is in order of receipt. So First Step Communities, 5 Keys, Outreach Ministries International, and the Salvation Army Lodi Corps. And I do just want to state that all the proposals received were just well put together, well thought out, and we were excited to see that we had 4 strong organizations submit proposals for this RFP process, and the evaluation committee had a hard job. Speaking of the evaluation committee, we want to heavily thank them because they did take a lot of time out of their day. I mean, 2 full days that they took out for not only the proposal evaluation, but then the interviews as well, discussion. And that's not to take into account the other communications that'll be on the next slide that occurred as well. So we had Janelle Frederickson from San Joaquin County Behavioral Health Services. We reached out to the county and asked who they would like as a representative on the evaluation committee, as they are a partner in this whole program. Lana Lozano, City of Stockton, she actually stepped in last minute because our Manteca counterpart unfortunately was not available, so we are thankful that she was able to step in last minute to assist. Virginia Carney from City of Tracy, Lisa Hill from the Lodi Committee on Homelessness Chair, and Lodi Improvement Committee Vice Chair, JP2 Set. He's on the Access Center Advisory Committee and CEO Chamber of Commerce. Russ Hayward, former SJCOC member and LCOH founding member. Sergeant Ryan Holtz, City of Lodi Police Department, former community liaison officer. Because Sergeant Holtz had been involved in this process for many years, we felt his input would be important from kind of the law enforcement side of things. So like I said, we did have a lot of communications with the evaluation committee in addition to the in-person interviews and proposal evaluations through invitation. We even requested input on the interview questions just to make sure that we didn't miss anything and that we captured kind of the essence of what we were trying to accomplish. Our city counterparts were especially helpful just because of the fact that they're kind of going through this in their cities as well, so being able to kind of see their perspective on some of them have already gone through the process or will be going through the process, and so it was helpful to hear feedback from them. The interviews of the top 3 proposals. Before the staff report was submitted for this council meeting, we actually sent their section of it off to them as well to see if they had any input that they would like to provide on it, just to make sure we captured kind of the essence of their thoughts and concerns throughout the process for each proposer that submitted one. The invitation to this council meeting, we were initially going to hold it on the 27th, and we held it on the 4th, so we did notify them of both of those meetings. So everybody on the evaluation committee was notified of these meetings in hopes that they would be able to attend. We do have a couple of them in the audience, and again, I want to thank them for all of their time and commitment through this process. Several of the members of the committee said that they may do similar things in their cities, so I'm glad that the process was helpful. So the evaluation criteria for the RFP, this is a very short summary of this. It's organizational experience and capability, operational readiness and staffing, fiscal responsibility and budget, client service delivery approach, community engagement and collaboration, proposal quality and completeness. Written proposals were scored independently by each evaluation committee member at an in-person evaluation meeting. Top 3 proposers were advanced to interviews, and this was similar to the approach that we had mentioned at City Council when we had the approval to release the RFP, is that we would likely select the top 3 just to be cognizant of everybody's time and availability. Pre-prepared interview questions with input by evaluation committee used for all interviews. Final rankings based on combined proposal and interview scores. So evaluation highlights, as I mentioned, all responsive proposals were thorough and very competitive. A lot of them brought different things to the table, so it was really complicated for the evaluation committee to kind of review those, but I think they were able to kind of look at key factors to be able to score their proposals. Kind of some of the differentiators were local operational experience, staffing depth and supervision, community partnerships, readiness to begin operations, and budget. Final rankings based on combined written proposals and interview scores by the evaluation committee are Outreach Ministries International ranked 1st overall, 5 Keys ranked 2nd overall, the Salvation Army Lodi Corps ranked 3rd overall, First Step Communities ranked 4th, and were not advanced to the interview phase. I do just want to state that we did invite all of the proposers to this regardless of their rank, because we did want them to be available to kind of see this and the process that occurred. With the combined proposals and interview scores, it just has the noted scoring there for both proposal scoring, interview scoring, and the combined total. Budgets came in at approximately 1.8 for Outreach Ministries, 2.4 for 5 Keys, and Salvation Army Lodi Corps at almost 1.7 million. And then we also do have kind of an overview of the staffing that was presented for each of the proposals. Outreach Ministries had 20 each for full-time and part-time staff. 5 Keys did have 23 and 12 part-time staff, and Salvation Army had 14 and 11. And to ensure that we had a fair comparable to that, we did ask the proposers to submit a unified staffing sheet to be able to have the evaluators review their staffing on a kind of one-to-one basis. So because sometimes proposers will submit their staffing and their part-time staff might be 0.1 of an individual because they're in a leadership role and they're actually going to be at the main office and maybe not there full-time. So for them to be able to kind of compare apples to apples, we had them submit that. So we did have supplemental information that was able to be shared with them. So comparison of the top 3 proposers. Outreach Ministries International is the current operator of the temporary Lodi Access Center with strong established relationships with the unsheltered community, local nonprofit partners, and county agencies, ensuring continuity of operational institutional knowledge and successful track record. Balanced budget to staffing ratio aligned with operational needs. 5 Keys extensive experience operating similar facilities statewide with knowledgeable staff, ranked them highest in the interview by a 2-point margin. Newer to the Lodi community with anticipated ramp-up time needed to establish local connections could potentially be a hindrance. The Salvation Army Lodi Corps' long-standing presence in Lodi, well-respected, and the only concern with them was lower staffing depth and supervisory capacity identified as concerns to meet all operational requirements. There's a little bit more details in the staff report. This is a brief summary kind of the items there. There was extensive conversation with the evaluation committee at the end of the interview process. What we thought would be half an hour, 45 minutes. I think we were there about an hour and a half afterwards, kind of just discussing the proposals and where they stood. And the evaluation committee kind of shared their thoughts, their concerns, and overall they were good with the combined ranking. So with that, The recommendation is to adopt a resolution awarding operation of Lodi Access Center Emergency Shelter to the council-selected operator based on ranking and recommendation provided by the Evaluation Committee of Outreach Ministries International, based on, provided by the, authorizing staff to negotiate an agreement and return to City Council for final contract approval. And the reason why we are requesting contract negotiation is because we do feel like there are areas that we can refine any proposal that was received. Staff took deep looks at all of the budgets and felt that there was areas that could be improved. Even during the interview process, that was one of the questions that the Evaluation Committee asked all of the proposers is if that would be an ability to be able to have a conversation with whoever was awarded to be able to work on budget. As we know, budget availability is limited currently, and that we're still working towards future operational years of the Access Center, and so wanting to get them in line with what that might look like, especially for the first ramp-up year that we're kind of trying to accomplish that. And with that, again, we do have members of the Evaluation Committee here and likely members from each proposer, and we open it for any questions to City Council.
Thank you for that presentation. So first, I'm going to suggest something to the council. Would you guys be okay if we move first public comments and then we say our comments after? Do we need a motion, City Attorney, for that?
You can go and then bring it back up to council after.
Okay, thank you. City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, I have quite the number of comment cards, and I will make an announcement now. I already see one hand raised on Zoom, so I will take the cards. I will announce them 3 at a time, so if you all can, when I announce your name, if you can come up to this area right here and be ready to provide your public comment, and then we can take the individual on Zoom. That's okay. The first 3 comment cards that I have, and I apologize if I mispronounce any last names, Chris Reich, Kimia Nen, and Maria Elena Serna.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chris Reich. Many of you may recognize me from speaking to the City Council with my 2 sons regarding the skate park, but tonight I'm here for something else. I'm a resident of Lodi and was once homeless and a drug addict for many years. I'm here tonight to tell you about my experiences with Pastor Jason McCachran and the members of Outreach Ministries International. Like I said, I was homeless for many years, and I had given up on hope until about 15 years ago when I met Jason McCachran and his friend Vince Yorba at a weekly outreach they would have at Lawrence Park. They were out there connecting with people and building relationships with the unhoused population, even way back then. They were also involved in a thrift store that was downtown, and together they loved on me and talked me into going to a substance abuse program on October 20th, 2011. I graduated that program and I came back to Lodi a different man, living in one of Jason's sober living homes. They had continued to mentor me and show me how to do things that were completely foreign to me. My oldest son, Elijah, was 4 years old when I got clean, and today he's a student at UOP on a full academic scholarship. I know my son's life would not be where it is today if I had not gotten my act together through the help of Jason and Outreach Ministries International. Today I'm a father, a husband, a friend, and a business owner. My life and the lives of my family are a direct result of the work that they've done and continue to do in our community. Please take this in consideration when making your decision over the Access Center tonight. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Council. My name is Camille Neal. I met Johnny, Zach, and Marvin at the lowest point of my life, and they have loved on me, helped me get my life together. They met me where I'm at, they loved on me, and I think that you should award them this contract. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maria Elena Serna, President of the Breakthrough Project for Social Justice. Good evening, Mayor and Mayor Yepes and council members. The Breakthrough Project for Social Justice is here to tell you why we support the Outreach Ministry International, Inc. to operate the Access Center on a permanent basis. We agree with the evaluation that has been done by the independent committee and the proposals that have been presented. And they recommend also, okay, that the contract be awarded, okay, to the Outreach Ministries International. We've based our support because they have very strong organizational experience. They already are locally trained. They have excellent managerial and supervisory staff in place. They have services 24/7. I think many have already been mentioned here already. And and they're not new to the community nor to the local providers, which I think is a big plus for Lodi. They also have presented a sensible and a low-cost budget, okay, to meet the needs of unsheltered individuals in Lodi. The Access Center is not new to our community because it's already been here, okay, for several years, and you already have, okay, a temporary operational, they have status already. And they have already proven themselves by reducing the number of unsheltered, okay, individuals, of which you've already heard, okay, two individuals here where it has been very successful for them. The Access Center has caught the interest of many local organizations and groups in Lodi, and they're very interested in assisting and helping people that are in need. The Access Center is continually, we believe, okay, great here in Lodi. Okay, the Ministry Outreach Center International and awarding them a permanent contracts so that they may help individuals redirect their lives in a positive manner and become participating citizens in our community. Thank you.
The next 3 comment cards I have are Jeff McCochran, Catherine Siddle, and Melvin Bryant.
I'm Jeff McCochran, and hello to the City Council. I've been involved at the Access Center since Outreach Ministries took it over for a short time. But I just want to say one thing about it. I go there and I sit down and I talk to the people that live there. And I was talking to a woman that lives there, and I was just listening to her, and she made a comment to me that really spoke to my heart. She said, "Jeff, you people here at the Access Center are doing something for the homeless people, which is good. But I want you to know, Jeff, to me, it's a home." And that hit my heart. It's more than just a place for them to sleep at night and have some meals. Some of them, for the first time in their life, have felt love. They've felt people that would listen to them, and they could move on with life. So it's an honor for me to speak on behalf of Outreach Ministries International. Thank you.
Hello. As many of you may know, I'm Catherine Siddle, and I committed myself to serving the homeless over 8 years ago. And I did leave Lodi 4 years ago, but this is important, and so I came back. Even in the 4 months ago, and even in the 4 months that I've been gone, I have had contact almost daily with somebody from the Access Center, whether it's a client or one of the staff members. And I am going to continue to serve to the best of my ability to support them because they meet the clients where they're at. We're at a point now in addressing the unsheltered where we have the toughest of the toughest. Officer Holtz can tell you that the first couple of years out there, we had low-hanging fruit, and we were able to get people off quick.
We don't have all the services needed for all the mental health issues we're dealing with and for all the unhoused to have a bed. So meeting the client where they're at, this group is so open to, the staff is open to teaching and to training and to really seeing the person where they're at. They're willing to accommodate our learning disabled. I probably won't shock you if I tell you how many people who are unhoused still can't read well, can't write, and having to teach these basic things. This staff is doing that. It was truly a pleasure and a gift to be able to work with them and to see the progress we were making. And I would just really encourage you to allow us to continue, because the numbers are there, the success is there, the work is there. You look around this room and you can't, my heart just bursts with joy for the number of people who've gone through the program and are doing amazing things now. So thank you for your time and consideration at this matter. I appreciate it.
Well, I had the joy of replacing Catherine, which I'm still trying to do. Everybody I've come across has said that it is a gigantic shoe to fill, and it has very well been that. You're going to hear a lot of stats, and I know you guys get the reports, so you look through the pamphlets, and so I thought about what I would say when I was up here today. And really, I just wanted to brag, and I wanted, in alignment with what Councilmember Craig said about alignment. Catherine taught me when I first took over that it was all about who you know and having people's cell phones. And so I put a quick list together that I'm going to run through that are intimate, daily collaborations with the Access Center daily. We've rebuilt and reestablished a relationship with Lodi Memorial. We have quarterly meetings with all of their social workers. I'm there 2 or 3 times a week establishing discharge plans for our unsheltered community to make sure that they aren't tossed back on the street and they're handled with dignity and worth from the hospital back to the center or wherever they're going. I am now intimately working with the Lodi Unified School District to help our unsheltered youth make sure they're in school, getting the supplies they need, and getting everything they need to be successful in their youthful career. A lot of times people spend a lot of time thinking that we're all drug and alcohol, and really one of our ginormous demographics at the shelter is seniors. And so I've developed a relationship with APS where we work weekly together to help establish a plan for them to find a safe and secure place to be. And I have a whole list I'm not going to get through, and I can't talk as fast as the kid did. But BHS has also been integral in all of their separate by parts that I work with, depending on whether it's behavioral health, like all of the healths. They now come to the Access Center to meet the unsheltered population where they're at, instead of having to try to find transportation to them. So, thank you.
The next comment cards I have are from Dennis Buffner, Annette DePauli, and Johnny Coffrin. And again, my apologies if I mispronounce any names.
Good evening, Council. Hi, my name is Dennis Buettner. That's how I've been. This just for clarification. I spent 23 years working for San Joaquin County as a homeless outreach worker, and so I bring not just my experience. I have to tell you something. In all the years I worked there, and it was a very, very rewarding job. I can't imagine another job I'd rather have ever had. It's been an absolute blessing for me to be able to work with outreach ministries. The key to what we do is compassion and connecting with the clients. If we don't have the time, if they don't get them to trust us, they won't accept our help. And so one of the things that I see as our strategy, besides just being love, it's about being able to connect with them. They will not listen to us otherwise. There was an old quote that says, "They won't care how much you know until they know how much you care." And that is so true. And we have to be willing to step out and meet them where they are and try to connect them to services. I spent 23 years with behavioral health services, and the good part for me is I get to continue to work with them and partner with them and still get to work with all these different agencies. So I bring with me not just that, but also knowledge of HMIS, because I have been using it since it came out. And so we're able to do so much more. The leadership through Johnny and Jason and everything has been fantastic. And I'm sorry, Marvin, I think I'm replacing Catherine, not you, sorry. Because she was the original outreach here for a lot of people. And she just loaded everything up in her car, and she was the Access Center for so long. So it is an honor for me to come in and continue my work and continue to bless as many people as I can. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. First, I want to really congratulate you on having two very solid applicants, both Outreach Ministries and Salvation Army. My name is Annette DePauli, and I started working with the homeless at Adventist Health about 12 years ago. After retiring from the county, I came to work at the Lodi Memorial, which at that time was still Lodi Memorial, and working in the emergency room. And at that time then, I met both of those agencies and worked very closely with them and became amazed by the work that they were doing, and built strong relationships in working with them. From there, I went to St. Joseph's and worked with the Homeless Health Initiative in the emergency room and continued the relationships. And even though I was in Stockton, it was still important that we maintain those relationships because at times we needed to share resources, which is a really important part in this population. From there, I went in, led the program. I was director at St. Mary's Community Services for the social services program. And again, trying to rebuild our resources and build connections. That's there where Johnny and I and the outreach ministry really connected, and he really demonstrated his deep interest and deep compassion in trying to make a program that was really going to serve the Lodi community. With that, I'm really wanting to emphasize how much he has built that program as far as the Access Center, learned how to do the data, learned at what potential prospects there are to build relationships, and what it is going to be able to expand and make it sustainable. So with that, I'm just really encouraging you to understand the incredible importance of all these aspects to make that type of a program continue and serve this community. I'm sure that's what you want for your own constituents as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I'm Johnny Coffrin, Director of the current Lodi Access Center. First of all, I wanted to thank you for entrusting us this little David size of an organization compared to some Goliaths that were in this bid proposal. We know how that story goes, but this story is a little bit different because now we're teamed up with the Goliaths. We've been able to team up with Salvation Army and a lot of other organizations, St. Mary's, county-wide organizations. We've even gone outside of the county to have that many more resources available, because in order to have success for the different type of person, you have to have a different type of connection. So we've really been able to find our setting in what we do and how we do it. We've created a machine, in a sense, that is producing fruit at 14 people a month. To date, we've gotten 203 people into either program or housing with about a 78% success rate. That equates to a little over $8 million ROI to the city of Lodi. What that really translates to, and what I want to speak to right now, is the financial concern for future sustainability. Yep, there is some concern there, but with the success that we've been able to gain, the machine we've built in just over 15 months, the success we've gained, measured and proven in the HMIS system, our success is acknowledged and commended at a county level, and we've set ourselves up and to be in a prime position for any grant funding if it does become available. But also with the community's support, this is just a fraction of the support that we really have out there. I think the momentum is very much in our favor to gain more support. We'll be pulling the trigger on a lot of fundraisers coming forward. but we want to work with you. The financial concern is ours also, but we are confident in our ability with the success and the support that the funding will come, and we want to partner with you guys. And thank you again.
I have 3 more comment cards, and then we will go to Zoom. I have Susie Endow, Katie Morado, and Oscar Schwolinger.
Good evening. I'm also in Breakthrough Project, just to throw that in. Thank you for not giving up on the homeless. And it means a lot. They're human. They like the love that they've received. I'd like to say also, I'm a volunteer at the Lodi Animal Services 3 days a week. And a lot of these people have dogs. A lot of them need to go into the program, substance abuse program, but they have nowhere to put their dog. So I've been trying to think of a way to help come up with a foster system or something. Wanted to just throw that out there for anybody who might have an idea or who might like to volunteer to foster, because dogs love us unconditionally, and that's what everyone wants to feel. And these people that are homeless, that's all they have, some of them, is their dog. I think that's it, except for if I could put in a plug for the animal services. They do such a good job.
Hello, Council. My name is Oscar Schmalinger. I'm actually a long Lodi resident. Lived here, born and raised here my entire life. I come to talk before the outreach ministries here. A short background for me, and not just for myself as well, but I was really good in school and all that. And by the time I got to like 23, I lost my brother, and I went to a really dark, deep spiral. And at the same time, I was starting to lose everything. And then I went to the Access Center, and not only that, my dad was actually there. So not only for myself, but they've actually helped my father, and they're currently actually, my dad is staying with one of Jason's houses. And for me, myself, I went in, I was a broken man, I was lost, I was troubled, no purpose, no direction. And right now I can happily stand here and say I'm 10 months sober, because they actually grabbed a hold of me and they redirected me toward a program, Teen Challenge in Turlock. So because of the love of these people right here, I have a family right here, and sorry, it's emotional. But I feel like I gained a family. I feel like I gained a hope for my life again. And that all started with Johnny, Zach, Mitch, everybody sitting right here. They all took care of me when I was really in need for it. Sorry for my nervousness. But yeah, more than just myself, my father, they're helping them tremendously. And just what they do at that center is so tremendous to everybody. I just came visited there tonight, because every time I come back here, I like to go there and just see what they're like and see how they are doing, and just kind of be a light for the people that need it. But these people are here. They're tremendous, and they actually have a heart for anybody that walks through those doors, and not only the day and night, everybody there. And I just want to say thank you guys for your time. Thank you.
I'm just going to do one last call for Katie Morado. Okay, and then I will go to Zoom. Kenneth Huntley, Mr. Huntley, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will start the timer. Go ahead and provide your public comment.
Okay. My name is Kenneth Huntley, and I just wanted to say that Ed Cole tells us that character is more important than talent. Jason McCachran, Zach Hidalgo, Johnny Cochran, many people from Outreach Ministry International have that character. When it comes to talking with people, building relations with people, It's getting to the core of what's going on, of the triggers of homelessness, addictions, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. They go to the core of everything. I'm a success story of that. 2013, my niece pulled me and took me to Gravity, gave me baby puppy dog eyes, and I was on the brink of some very dark stuff. And today, because of Outreach Ministry International, I'm a board of director at Valley Mountain Regional Center, and I'm also on the Mayor's Roundtable for People with Disabilities at the City of Stockton, and I attribute everything to Outreach Ministry International. And that's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Huntley. Mayor, those are all the comment cards and Zoom comments that I have. You're more than welcome to open it up to the audience.
Yes, so now I will open to the audience if anyone has additional comments to come to the podium right now. Seeing none, I'm going to move now to council comments, sorry. Oh, we have one? Oh, sorry.
I had no intention of coming, but I have one of the staff members that is staying with me. And he keeps me aware of what's going on. But his comment, I don't know how many times, is this is not a job with him. This is a calling. And when I hear that and I go over and visit them, that staff is the tops. You'll never be sorry with them. Thank you.
Do we have any more comments? Okay, so I'm going to call council members the order that they raise their hand. So first I'm going to start with Councilwoman Craig.
My sentiments are similar with Outreach Ministries. I think, they were homegrown to start with, and that matters a lot here because they had already made an investment in the community. So having been to a number of the Gravity Church Monday morning breakfasts, I appreciate their service, not just to those that are homeless, but to the entire neighborhood. So when we selected them, I knew that we were moving on with a better organization. And I think over this last 15 months or so, they've proven that they are able to meet the outcomes that we're all looking for. So the opportunity to continue investing, it's like a business. This business expanded. It went from sobering homes to being so much more to the community. So it's really important that we invest in those that invest in our community. So I'll say I'm supportive of the contract going to Outreach Ministries, but I have a lot of questions because we do have a bottom line, Johnny said it himself, that we have to all address. So some of the questions may be for Outreach Ministries. I don't know who would answer them necessarily, but I'll maybe start with a couple of those, and then I might move to staff, or John, if your staff, you and Jennifer can comment on something that I'm happy with that too. So one of the things that I remember speaking about when Outreach Ministries was selected, and a quote was made tonight, which I appreciate, so that they can move on with their lives. And I think that's what you are making every effort to do. It's a center where we're navigating people into their future and transitioning them, hence why we are so beneficial to have the county as a partner, and we have that next step of transitional housing. And then to the point well made as well, we have other partners. We have Salvation Army, we have Grace and Mercy, we have St. Mary's. We have others that are partners we can work with on that transitioning process, because I think that's what we're all looking for. Your 78% is really impressive. And, we just keep working on those individuals and know they've got the support, and we've made a good investment in that respect. So one of the things I want to underscore is it is my understanding, we're continuing on that process, that our goal and the outcome is to always navigate individuals in and on to the next level of their lives. So maybe you guys can talk about who does that within Outreach Ministries that really takes it to that next level, and how you staff that, because you do have a number of staff, which I understand the need for that. So maybe you can just quickly tell me what the goal is and how you staff that process.
Yeah, in past, thank you also for letting us be here. In past presentations, we've shown you that we've developed a process that we believe is reproducible. When someone comes in, our approach to every single person is to engage with them wherever they're at. And their journey, they're very different, every single one of them. But once there's an engagement and there's an assessment, we're able to help them to find a path that's suitable, that moves them out of the center. We've said it before and we'll repeat it. We have no interest in housing people at the LODA Access Center long-term. We are not in the housing business. We're in the moving of people into a better place business. And so whether that is, like our friend Oscar, into treatment, or whether it's like his dad into a safe, sober living environment, or whether it's family reunification, believe it or not, there are many people that just don't know how to pick up the phone and call a family that's there because of family relationship fallout. We can help make those phone calls. There's some people that just need to get working, and they need assistance to be able to have the self-confidence to be able to be job ready and apply for work. And we're very, very focused on that. I'm a general contractor here in Lodi, and I would say almost my entire work crew at one time in their life were homeless. And so I see the value of putting people to work and watching what that does for their family and the long term. And so the short answer to your question is we are going to do whatever it takes to help people transition out of the LODA Access Center, and that's the bottom line.
Okay, thank you. Just want to underscore we're on the same page with
Absolutely.
that. I appreciate it. I think, Johnny, we had this conversation the other day. Your temporary contract ends October, is that what I understand? The current,
October 31st.
okay.
It ends whenever they get that building done.
Yeah, okay. Which I'll be getting to you soon on that, John. So, so where are you with your budget to date? Are you finding that you're right at kind of what you budgeted for expenses? Are you a little under? Do you guys know where you are with your operating costs relative to the temporary?
We'll speak for the money.
Okay.
Just because I actually did look at that earlier today, and so in the last contract year, they actually came under just under $70,000 under their original contract obligation. And this year, we only have a couple months in at this point in time, but they are projecting to potentially be under another $100,000 as well. But again, we're only a couple months in, so I want to underscore that for sure. But they are good about contacting us if there's going to be an out-of-the-norm budget expense or anything like that, to make sure where their budget is at and if they have availability before that has taken place. So we appreciate that.
Okay, and I thought I'd heard that to be the case in one of the last reports, so I appreciate hearing that too, because every penny has to be accounted for the needs for the Access Center. In terms of I think there was a mention of the outcome tracking and the federal, state, local compliance issues. We have our county partners, and we're going to be operating a clinic use within that. Is there dual reporting going on? How is coordination of reporting going when some of the beds are county beds and some of the beds are city beds? And I don't know if it's county to answer that question or what, so.
I will note that we plan to bring them in when we're kind of navigating the final contract amount. There was a draft attached to the RFP, and they did provide input on the RFP as well, as far as collaborating between the county and whoever the operator was, and making sure that everybody kind of stayed in their roles and didn't have a navigation that could potentially overstep bounds or anything like that. But we do plan to have them part of that negotiation process so that they can see the contract terms before we bring it to City Council, as well, as they are a big part of the Access Center.
And Ms. Valentine is here, so I'm sure she'll give us a little bit more detail on that.
Good evening, Mayor, to our Councilwoman Genevieve Valentine, Healthcare Services Director for the county. There are definitely a lot of reporting opportunities that the county has for the 6 beds specifically for the mental health respite. There's also the proposal for the sobering center within the center. Plus, I have with me the new project director of the health clinics within the county, and there's also federal requirements there. But in terms of bed counts, in order for tracking, we are 100% committed with the operator to make sure that we are meeting all grant requirements, both from the state requirements, because the beds that are the mental health respite are actually bridge housing grant dollars, and there's very specific requirements. So we just have to come up with some screening opportunities, working in partnership together. I take great pride in making sure we don't lose any of our state and federal dollars, so we will track it to the T in order to make sure we can retain the state and federal dollars that we have. So we have no concern with the partnership and making sure that we're meeting our state obligations in order to make sure that the county is also operating the way it needs to. There will no longer be any concerns of duplication of efforts because we will be one team partnering together once this is completed, both with the new center at large, but we also are excited to be able to work in partnership with the Lodi Fire Department with the ability to have the alternative destination. So we will be able to continue the efforts of the outreach ministries and their works with Lodi Memorial and so forth. So we are excited about the opportunity, but I can rest assured and that the council rest assured and my partners with the county rest assured that we will make sure that every dollar is counted for, that is within our control as well as the data reporting necessary.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Valentine. I wanted to hear from the county, so I appreciate you making it here tonight to share that with us.
Yeah, so quick question, to quick like comment. Yeah, thank you for coming because I know you had a conflict and you drove like 1 hour and a half to be here. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. So I would go back to staff on this one. Are we on track with capital costs? Are we anticipating any change orders coming forward with the completion of the Access Center?
Right now, we're actually still within our budget authority that we have implemented. Luckily, the soil did come in a little bit under what we had originally anticipated. As we are aware, with capital projects, we don't always know what's going to come down the pipeline, but as of right now, yes, we are within our current budget authority.
Okay, so I had the benefit of seeing the, we haven't gotten to this report yet, but looking at the budget and the rollover of ARPA funds. On that $5.1 million of ARPA funds, is that Access Center money?
All of the ARPA funds are now tied to Access Center, correct? Because all other projects that were tied to ARPA have been completed, and so Access Center is the only one that's remaining towards ARPA.
Okay, so that 5.1 that's carrying over, will roll over, that's in the mid-year budget adjustment is all Access?
Correct.
All right. I think outreach costs. So one of the things I think that Outreach Ministries, hence its name, has done very effectively is going out and engaging, and not just outreach to bring those in that need the support, but outreach to the surrounding business community. Johnny and I had a very good discussion about that, because making sure the business community feels that their issues are being addressed, that their concerns are being addressed, and what you may be able to do to help with those surrounding businesses is really important. Do you have any idea, I mean, does that take a full-time person to do all of that? What is it that you are really looking for in terms of your staffing to help with the outreach in the variety of ways you're conducting outreach?
This bid was last October, and I'm trying to remember specifics, but I do believe we have 1.5 full-time outreach people, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But that doesn't go to say. Marvin is our program director. He goes out and responds to a lot of those calls also. He also does community engagement. Dennis Butner, who has 23, 24 years with behavioral health, he does engagement with the unsheltered population, but also with businesses and keeping intact. I'll be honest, right now our spotlight is on the industrial area.
Yeah.
That's a hot spot that we are pivoting towards and trying to find resolution over there. Because we want to keep all those big businesses especially in support of this.
Yeah.
But with outreach, yeah, it's just we we've already started a neighborhood coalition meeting. Jennifer put that together, that we had fire, PD, and city staff there. We also want to set up more meetings like that to hear from the public, but also I'm of the opinion that if you give understanding, you'll gain support, because if people truly understand of what we're dealing with, our restrictions, what we can do, what we can't do, they'll come alongside. A lot of people are just uninformed, so we want to open up a lot of those avenues for quarterly or possibly more every month, every other month, something like that. But gaining community support is going to be critical in gaining future financial sustainability. So that is on our priority list.
I appreciate that, because I do hear from the businesses, and they do compliment you when, you've been there to talk with them, so thank you for that.
Well, there's one more item I'll mention. I was waiting for him to get off the evaluation committee, but JP Doucette is in the process of organizing a meeting like that for the businesses so that they can speak their minds, concerns, support, or any way that we can come alongside of them, because the majority of our staff lives in Lodi. We're taxpayers in Lodi. So we're a part of Lodi. So we're in this with you, we're in this with the community. So we want to make sure that we have full support for this.
Appreciate it. Did you have a comment, Ms. Valentine, on outreach, or?
Through the mayor to the councilwoman, not on outreach, but
Okay.
actually on budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So 2 different pieces in terms of budget. The county awarded the city $8.2 million in ARPA funds. There is still $5.6 million that the city can get reimbursed from the county based off of the cost reimbursement of the project. It is important to note, though, that we have until December of '26 to have that expended, and whatever is not must be returned to the federal government based off of our ARPA requirements. The $575,000 of infrastructure dollars from behavioral health, the contract went into effect with the city in October. Once the deed for that square footage is awarded and sent over to the Behavioral Health Department, the check for the $575,000 can be sent over to the city. And then we also have the $1.8 million of infrastructure dollars specifically towards the SJ Health clinics. And so we have a little bit more time, but those are still dollars that need to be drawn down from the federal government through the county over to the city. So I know that's all included in your budget at large, but those are funds that are still available to the city in order to make sure that the construction is completed. So there are those buckets for reimbursement still.
So the 575 and the 1.8 are capital, or are?
Those are infrastructure.
Those are all infrastructure.
All of the funds that were just mentioned, the 5.6 that can still be drawn down for ARPA, the 575,000 from behavioral health, and the 1.8 from the health clinics are all infrastructure dollars.
Okay.
Could I chime in? Have there been any Prop 1 dollars allocated to the project, or is there any progress on?
So through the mayor to the councilman, there is actually no Prop 1 dollars specifically tied for housing into this. There's some very interesting dynamics that come to Proposition 1. So 35% of behavioral health's allotment of BHSA must be housing initiatives, subsidies, and so forth. However, we cannot, based off of new entitlement requirements, we cannot use those dollars until we use the ability to do transitional rent dollars first, which is a new benefit through the managed care plans, and we actually have to link people to that 6 months of the benefit before we can do Proposition 1 dollars for the project at large. So we are actually at this moment in time maxed out on what we need to do after our transitional rent requirements. So you have to use the transitional rent, who's identified, and then use your Prop 1 dollars. I can tell you, though, that Proposition 1 dollars will be used for the operation piece of what behavioral health needs to do within the shelter at large in the access center. So we are also earmarking $35 per day in order to make sure that their operating supports can be offset with operations for those beds that are specifically put aside. But in terms of allotment of Prop 1, unfortunately, we didn't get new money from the state. It took from treatment. And so I think that's important for the community. No new dollars came to behavioral health with the passing of Prop 1. We actually had to eliminate treatment, and we actually had to eliminate all prevention in order to meet the new bucket of 35% of housing requirements.
So that the funding is addressing the transitional housing?
So Prop 1 does not address transitional housing in of itself. The Proposition 1 housing bucket is for housing interventions. That could be rental assistance, it could be a deposit of, a housing deposit, it can be a variety of things, but it has to actually be a subsidy, a housing subsidy. But it cannot be used until 6 months and 1 day if someone is in transitional rent. So we have to use the transitional rent benefit if they qualify for that through the managed care plans. And on day 6 months and 1 day, that's when the county can actually pay for that next piece. Unless they are in a enhanced boarding care, which is not the situation that we are talking about. And then we can actually use patches for housing subsidies and so forth. But from a transitional rent, it's 6 months and 1 day.
I think my last question is more a comment on the staff report. Maybe we can address it by saying specifically what we anticipate we have for operating for that first year, because the last sentence says, should there not be sufficient grant funding enter into the first year of the agreement, staff will evaluate options and bring to City Council for consideration. So I'm of the belief we have at least 1 year of funds available. Am I incorrect in assuming that?
Councilmember Craig Hensley, you are correct in assuming that. It's kind of one of those things that you always kind of put a disclaimer in there because you don't know what the future holds. But yes, at this point in time, we do have sufficient funds for the first year of operations.
So is that sufficient based on the proposed amounts, or what are we talking about dollar-wise that we've got starting post temporary access center? What have we got left?
Well, it was brought to City Council when the RFP was being brought forth was $1,650,000. We are working on additional grant funds that we should know the outcome of during this negotiation process as well. But we do, like I said, anticipate having that first year of funding available.
Okay, and my last, this is just a comment, not a question. Thank you all for answering this. The comment was made, and I also received emails on this. The concept of animals not having a place. I would wonder if once we get our new animal shelter built, that if the old animal shelter has a role or purpose or could be used for temporary use for animals as people are going through this transition. I have no idea. I'm just putting it out there because of the fact that that question has come up more than once. So thank you for bringing it up tonight.
I will note that there has been some conversations at like the Lodi Committee on Homelessness about establishing a foster system for that. The chair, she's actually here tonight, Member Hill, has done a lot of legwork on it, and I think they were just kind of waiting till this moment to understand who the new operator was going to be awarded, and kind of working with them on establishing a more long-term program. But there has been interest in volunteers assisting with that. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics like liability for the animal and things like that that have to be worked through, but that has been a conversation that's been going on, especially at the Lodi Committee on Homelessness for a good bit of time now. So we're hoping that maybe something can come through fruition with that. And I think it would probably be one of the first of its kind in this area, so hopefully it could be something that could be modeled throughout the county as well, because that is a major need, and most shelters can only house a certain number of animals in addition to the clients that they serve, so it is much needed, because you don't want someone to turn down treatment or housing because of a family member to them, so hopefully we'll have a resolution to that.
Thank you. Mayor, thank you, and appreciate the patience.
Thank you for the call. So now, for the question, sorry. So now I'm going to move to the next council member, Councilmember Bregman.
All right, well, I gotta say, I haven't been excited in a while for an item, but this tops the last few months. And I think a nice little correction is, I had the number 154 in my head, which was the last number I got for individuals off the street. Now we're over 200. Can everybody that has served at the Access Center please stand up? Can we give them a round of applause, please? Thank you very much for your service. And what I will say is, I believe this will be our first point in time count where Lodi's homeless population actually goes down. That's my expectation. When do we expect to see that point in time count, by the way? If we do have a date, just rough date.
Councilmember Bregman, I'll go ahead and answer that. Usually we see the data around April. Last year, last count, we did see it closer to May. So that's likely when we would have the final numbers out, because ASR is the consultant for the county and the COC, and they actually do provide a methodology. So the count that was conducted is only a piece of it, and then there is a methodology that is attached to it for, say, if there's an RV or a vehicle or a tent or something like that. It's not just necessarily counted as one. It could be 1.5 individuals. So once that methodology is attached, then they'll get that report to us, and it usually does go to the COC and the County Board of Supervisors as well for approval.
Great. All right, well, a couple other details. Me and my girlfriend, actually our second date was serving at the Access Center, and she said to me, "Man, these are the cleanest homeless people ever." I'm like, they are. And I will say, that says something. You know, I always tell people, my belief is if somebody doesn't have a disability, that getting a job is the ultimate level of rehabilitation, because they get their pride back, right? They're back on their feet again. And guess what? You can't go to a job interview if you smell stinky and if you don't have a driver's license and all these simple things. So that was very neat to see. Again, I have an office downtown here, and I got on council for mostly 2 reasons, okay? Top 2, one of which was homelessness. And I remember when we used to have people throw rocks at our glass doors, breaking them, and I'd have to board them up. Broken cameras, feces everywhere. I mean, it was terrible, okay? And I know some downtown businesses still have that issue. But I gotta say, I look at our streets now, and they are so much cleaner than they were 3 years ago. So I just really want to thank the entire team to Outreach Ministries. I also want to thank our Lodi PD. I want to thank Salvation Army, all the people involved, because it is a partnership. It's not just one group, right? And what I'd also like to say is, Mr. Jason, if you're half the man as your dad is, you're a pretty darn good leader. And if you can tell half as good as the story that he tells, you're going to run this entire city. So I think you'll have a good history. And yep. But it does give me chills, because I think this is one of the biggest wins our city has ever had. And obviously, we got to deal with the financial part. And I'm caught between a crossfire, right? I'm voting for you guys tonight. I'll just say that out loud. And I love Salvation Army. And what I will say is, I'm hopefully going to be invited to the Friday Men's Life Group still. But you guys are an absolute great group. And you guys still serve a huge need in Lodi, right? And I'd like to thank you for your decades and decades of service, and again, that you still do provide. Besides that, what I would say is, again, I think that we'll have partnerships in this funding, right, towards the Access Center. I don't want to see us pull any funds from police and fire. That's a hard line, and obviously we don't want to vote for any fiscal deficits, and so that's, you know, my position too. But I absolutely love the work you guys are doing. You guys have the highest success rate I've ever seen out of any group. 200 plus people off the streets in Lodi. That's a win. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for not us choosing you, but you choosing Lodi. So thank you.
Councilman Nakanishi.
Pastor Jason, Johnny Cochran, and the outreach group, I applaud you for doing a good job. You guys shown that you can run an Access Center, and you have a cohesive team. You have the dream and the vision. The other thing I also see is that I got to know you guys, so I applaud you. And you won the evaluators. We had good evaluators, and they chose you as number 1. To the Salvation Army, I support you. You know I support you, right? And you're doing a good job with Hope Harbor. That's a big job. Keep doing that. Yeah. One of the concerns of getting too big is it hurts you, right? So you're doing such a good job. You've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. Keep doing it. So I applaud both of you, and I congratulate you for winning the evaluation to get this cut bid.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoti?
Yep, so I was on the council, I think, in 2021 when we initially voted to approve the Access Center, and I'm the only one who survived the vote, hence being, still up here. But I actually met Johnny back in 2020, knocking on doors, running for election, and he was at his grandma's house and just peppered me with questions about like my thoughts on homelessness. And I think that just really speaks to, like, before you were involved in this at all, you were simply a concerned citizen who had a keen interest in trying to help people who really need help in this community. And I think that says a lot about you. For those who haven't seen it in the Lodi News Sentinel, there's a great write-up about Johnny that I didn't even know half the story, but it's a real tearjerker, and it'll tell you why he's so mission-driven and that why they've had so much success, why they've had the success that they've had. What I'll say to Salvation Army is major kudos to you, because all I hear is compliments all around about the collaboration that you have at your neighboring sites. And I think that also speaks to the success of this facility, the fact that you guys are able to collaborate. So I think my support here has been pretty clear, but kudos to you for everything that you've done and for running under budget. That's pretty rare when things come to council. Generally, they're over budget, but just appreciate everything that you're doing. And I think I'll be supporting this today.
Thank you for all that council comments. I think we have covered most of all the issues, so I have just a few questions. So since I've been the mayor of the city, I've been thinking, and I always think of the future, what is it going to happen, and the problem is the finance. So I want to ask about that. So what is the plan so we have so far 1 year to operate it, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So what is the exit strategy in case there's no funding? Like, we know how the climate is with the federal, with the state, with the county. Their funding for these initiatives they're gone now. So what I would like not to see is that U.S. are open on a Monday and then on a Tuesday is closed, because that would not be a service for the homeless population that U.S. are helping. And I have learned from other cities like San Francisco that they have a program, and you guys also, about trying to connect the homeless individual with their families, with other agencies, that they can get the services that we don't have. Because I have said from the beginning, there's a problem, homeless in the city, but we as a city, we're not built to deal with the Access Center. We know, we just fire, police, infrastructure, which is the street. So this is beyond our expertise. From the beginning it has been. So for me, my question is, what is the plan that in case the funding doesn't come? Because I want to plan things for the future too. I want to have plan A, plan B.
Right, question for us?
Just for you guys.
I appreciate that question, and we've had a lot of internal conversations and brainstorming sessions, if you will, of what would happen if that day came where the money from the city wasn't available. And we've all seen budget cuts, we've all seen things that start and then they're not able to continue. But our heart is that we have been doing this same kind of work in the city of Lodi for 15 years before we started working at the Access Center. And so we won't stop, even if we don't have a facility to work out of. But heaven forbid the city runs out of money and wants to lease the building to Outreach Ministries for $1 a year. We would fundraise our butts off to try to find a way to keep the lights on and keep the operation going.
Yeah, so what would that be? Like, yeah, for example, let's explore that. Let's say that, yeah, we run out of money. And so how, like, in what capacity would you guys be able to operate it? Because it's interesting.
That would probably need to be a coffee meeting where we can have a conversation.
Yeah, maybe I want to invite the county Valentine, so maybe can talk about that. What will happen if that happens, right?
So Genevieve Valentine, Healthcare Services Director. So I do want to say I am speaking on behalf of Healthcare Services. I cannot speak on the fiscal requirements of the county at large, but I do have a friend here next to me that can, so I just want to make sure I have that caveat there. So there are obligations within the ARPA dollars, and there is obligations with both the HRSA dollars, that is the health clinics, and the dollars connected to the 6 beds, behavioral health beds. There are minimum requirements when we give those infrastructure dollars that the city is on the hook for. I'll put it in the clear terms. ARPA, you have to, once done, there has to be 18 months of operating. There has to be through the grant of the bridge housing, those dollars require through the end of 2027 that there is operations. The moment you have a health center and FQHC, there are federal obligations in terms of our grants and so forth. So there are definitely requirements that if the doors close the next day, that there is a likelihood that dollars would have to be returned to the county in the various buckets if that happened before those timelines.
Sorry to interrupt you. So in that case, the city of Lore will have to give the money back?
That is a correct
So
statement.
then there will be an impact on our budget, like we will have to cut like police or fire department or whatever department to get the like $2.5 million, right, operations?
Oh, is this the, see, she's responsible and I'm not, so I can say whatever I want. For those 18 months, yes, that is correct, 18 months. So the access center is currently ran, has to be there, otherwise the original 11 million?
11 million of
11 million of ARPA would, have to go back to the federal government. So that's 8.2? Because we've already spent. Capital LA. Okay. I think what you're asking though, Mayor, is there has to be a backup plan.
Exactly.
Okay. Nobody, I've seen from the Lodi budget, we probably don't have $1.8 million just laying around. Otherwise, I'd have my skate park and a few other things done. So we have to that. What we're thinking, and again, and it goes back to Councilman Craig, your comment, Councilman Bregman, Johnny, and I've got a few words to say about Johnny. The goal is to get them off the street and into transition, period. What we're looking at the front end of the property, you're looking at the clinic, which is then Congressman Jerry McNerney, now Senator McNerney's $1.8 million. It's using the alternative destination in the front, the sobering center in the front as well. What we're talking about is the access center beds, the walk-in facilities that we have now. We do need a plan B in case there's no funding. And you just heard them saying it doesn't matter whether they have a facility or not, they're going to continue doing what they're doing, and we might have to pivot in order to do that. So after our 18 months, there's some ideas that we've batted back and forth about maybe putting the property in receivership, the county taking it over, and we will go from there. That's my opinion. I have 4 other supervisors, so I can't speak for the Board of Supervisors, but that is a plan that we are actively looking at. And I do want to say one thing, especially about Johnny, and he talks about love. But, I have 2 hats. One is Board of Supervisors. I got to watch out for the financials. I've got to watch out, make sure our dollars are being spent well. But loving on somebody in tough love, there's two, and Johnny knows how to do it because he's walked the walk. I've been down the same path Johnny has. I don't think I hit the bottom quite as bad as you did, but I get it. It takes an addict to help an addict, and you cannot teach anybody how to do this situation unless you've been in Johnny's shoes. I'm very proud of you.
So, Councilman Bregman, you want to comment on something?
I'm all good. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you for coming today, Supervisor and Ms. Valentine, because this is, as we know, there's so many variables. It's just a simple, the condition changed from when this vote what happened a few years ago, so the conditions have changed a lot, so we need to plan for those contingencies. So yeah, I think that was my last question. The recommendation is just a recommendation. That's why it becomes to council. For me, I feel Salvation Army will be a better operator, and that's just my opinion, my vote. So I see here if anybody has more comments, I feel that you have the support of the council, but for me, I don't, yeah, and nothing against you guys. Just look at the numbers. They have a lower bed, and I think I have been talking to them for the past 3 years since I've been here at council, and I think they will be better for this. So, yeah. Any more comments from the council? Yes, after if anybody
I'll make a motion that we accept the offer from Outreach Ministries.
Second.
Mayor.
And it passes. Okay, now we're gonna try to return to the previous item. We're gonna circle back now.
Yes, Mayor, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll just call out if any member of the audience was here for this item and would like to get up now and enjoy the rest of their night, you're more than welcome to while we transition.
Oh, no, no. I thought that they did that.
Hello, Maria. Hey, how you doing? Very nice remarks today.
Yeah, and that's why I just brought the issue up. It needs to be addressed.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I think that will have a lot of
No.
Calvin, how are you? We're good. Hey, Calvin.
So there's a couple of people running for their seat.
Oh, yeah. Are you in my district? Let the Lord lead. No, no, no.
So when Steve was throwing that
Let the
Lord Reed. I was thinking about somebody this vote. The board, you know, I was thinking to myself, it's a lot to chew, you know?
Mayor, members of the audience, we are moving on to the next item.
And if not, CC council so that we can have. Thank you very much for being here. All right. Uh-oh.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Barely. Calvin?
You're not too sad, are you?
No, not at all. Hey, I don't know whether to congratulate him or tell him.
It's a good job.
It will be a challenge. But we're there to work together.
Yeah, good.
All right. Have a good night.
See you Friday.
See you Friday.
I know, it's pretty cool. All right, we're ready with a presentation, City Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. We will be continuing with the meeting, so if you could quietly take your conversations outside, the meeting will be continuing. We are continuing on. We still have agenda items. Thank you, everyone. Please step outside. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney.
That would be the gavel. This is the gavel time. Thank you, Ramon. There is a time to use it.
Right.
Mayor, we are
So
back.
we're back.
We are back. We're back to G2, and I will turn it back over to our budget team.
Second try, which Olivia is going to drive. So Olivia, I'm going to start on slide 2. So each year, the City of Lodi prepares a mid-year update recommending changes and appropriations to continue operations and projects during the year. The mid-year review includes all funds, and these funds have been reviewed for both revenue and expenditure needs. With thousands of account lines review, I wanted to give a shout out to the department heads and department staff that got this mid-year together in time to start a timely budget cycle. Mid-year is an opportunity for departments to recommend new essential services and operational adjustments that were not realized during the original budget planning. And this presentation also provides a summary of where we began the fiscal year with the adopted budget, discuss a number of revisions that were made after adoption and between mid-year, and provides detail about recommended changes. Starting with the background, the City Council adopted the fiscal year 25-26 budget on June 4th of 25. Per the budget and fiscal policy, the budget sets the priorities for the funding services within the City of Lodi for the fiscal year. The general fund adopted for fiscal year 26 was balanced at 89 million estimated revenue and expenses, and the citywide budget was estimated at 294 million revenue and 291 million expenses. The adopted budget included a 5-year forecast and it expected an ongoing structural deficit of approximately 5 million over the next 5 years. Since the adoption of the fiscal year 26 budget, 3 revenue revisions have been made to the general fund. These adjustments include a $5.1 million carryover of the ARPA that we discussed earlier, a $64,000 appropriation of a donation from the Lodi Fire Foundation for cardiac monitors, and a $16,000 transfer from water and wastewater for the Public Works Director recruitment costs. So it's a transfer from those funds to general fund. The updated fiscal year 26 revenue totals by category before the mid-year changes are shown in the displayed table and included in your staff report. As you can see, the recruitment revenue came in as an interfund transfer from water and wastewater. The $64,000 was posted to the donation account within the charges for services, and the ARPA 104 fund houses the rollover of ARPA revenue. So now to review the expense changes. Since the adoption of fiscal year 26 budget, 6 expense revisions have been made to the general fund. These adjustments include a $5.1 million carryover of ARPA funds and are offset by the revenue discussed on the previous slide. There is a transfer out of $32,000 from the city manager's budget to human resources for the city manager recruitment, a carryover of $359,000 for the assistance to firefighters multi-year grant for paramedic training and overtime, and the $64,000 expense appropriation of a donation from the Fire Foundation that we discussed in the revenue category. There was also a transfer of $25,000 into human resources from the Public Works, Water, and Wastewater funds for the Public Director Works Director Professional Recruitment Services, and $8,300 of this transfer was from the Public Works admin account, with the remaining $16,000 from the revenue, the intra-fund transfer, drawing from the water and wastewater funds. So this is the updated glimpse as of today of the fiscal year 26 expense totals by department. Of course, this is before mid-year changes are shown in the display table and included in your staff report. Internal services actually houses the human resources accounts. So when I mentioned the recruiting services transfers into human resources, those are included in internal services. So now I'm going to go into the mid-year review. Fiscal year 26 mid-year is unique from other mid-year reviews. First, the review and approval of the budget and fiscal policy is usually done every 2 years as part of the annual budget review and approval. The adoption of the policy changes are essential at mid-year due to salary and benefit and operational needs. The approved and pending MOU negotiations have required budget staff to rerun salary and benefit projections to capture increases in salary and benefits resulting from approved and proposed MOU updates. So this is unique because usually at mid-year, we just kind of see what operational needs are needed with staff, overtime, part-time. In this case, because the MOU changes were not completed by the time adoption happened, we actually had to rerun those projections. So you'll see MOU updates within those, and those are the major changes which makes mid-year unique this year. Mid-year also includes general fund position classifications and other position requests and the appropriation of the remaining general fund capital funding. As mentioned on the prior slide, the adoption of the budget and fiscal policy is recommended to set a new pension stabilization funding base of 70% of the combined liability. This recommendation is based on the solid foundation that the City of Lodi has built with this fund, and the actuarial evidence that it will sustain the city through the term of the unfunded liability obligation. This will also allow the use of general fund balance to cover any additional budget expense needs. Other changes to the policy are related to staffing title updates, and the red line copy is included in the staff report. So I snipped the major part of the change for the budget policy and put it in this slide. So what staff is asking is for a 70% funding instead of 80%. So it's just a decrease of 10% of what the policy says. And that will greatly help our operational needs, as I will talk about more on the next slides. This slide shows the City of Lodi's PERS, California Public Employees Retirement System, or PERS, and Public Agency Retirement Services Trust, or PARS, combined liability. PARS is a Section 115 trust program designed to pre-fund pension costs and address pension liabilities. The city decided to open an account with and contribute to the trust in 2017 because it can generate a higher rate of return than general reserve fund and can serve as an additional source of pension contribution funds during challenging economic or budgetary periods. The table shows our current market value of assets and our liability with PERS funded at 65.4% combined between the safety and miscellaneous plans. Our PARS balance as of December 31st, 2005 is a little over $31 million, bringing the combined pension stabilization funding balance to 71.3%, 1.3% above the proposed 70% base level of funding. So this table was created by PARS for us as we were discussing this policy change, and it was presented to the Finance Committee on January 27th of 2026. This table shows the growth of the Pension Stabilization Fund in the next 6 years, while the city discontinues contributions towards PERS-funded liability based on the 70% funding level, and allowing the PERS Trust to grow at an annual 4.59%. So that is what PARS projected as an average that it could grow in the next 6 years, and it's actually less than what we are experiencing today. It is projected that if the city will hit the 80% funding mark in fiscal year 31-32 without adding additional contributions, and with modest drawdowns starting in fiscal year 27-28. So we can actually achieve, PARS is projecting that we could actually achieve an 80% funding level on its own with just investment earnings, while we can start drawing down approximately $600,000 to $800,000 per year for the next 6 years. The PERS and PARS combined liability does not include contributions from the general fund or other funds for fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24. So based on the annual comprehensive financial report, these contributions would total nearly $3.7 million. So staff recommends the adoption of the budget and fiscal policy based on the current funding status and to use fund balance for the last, or fiscal year 23 and 24 to balance or cover mid-year budget appropriations.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. So for the last 3 slides or so, for example, can you go back, Janelle, just 2 slides,
Yes.
slide 10? So I recall back when I first got on council, if I'm not incorrect, we had just over 20 million in that. We've grown that much in the past few years, right? So, which hence back to interest income has been significant for us on that account. So kudos to our investment strategy, whatever the case may be. So flip up to the next 2 slides, the last one you were at. So, so what I want to clarify here is that in 22-23 and 23-24, this amount of money, 1.6 and 2.0, should have been contributed to that, or it's held and we didn't contribute it towards it? I'm missing what this dollar amount is.
Well, if you, last mid-year, this was actually postponed because of this discussion was postponed because of the ACFR.
Okay.
And then with different staffing changes, it was never brought back to council, so we're
So
here
it's
today.
just kind of sitting there.
It was sitting there in fund balance, yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay, so now I understand what you're saying. Instead of putting it into the pension stabilization, we just spend it on what we need to spend it on, because if we go to the 70% mark, we're good right now. And as we move forward, we're good, based on not even putting any money in, just the level of interest that we're realizing and the reduced amount of our liability. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
I got it.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a quick question here. The year 2023, 2024, you add them up, that's how much we have. Is that right?
Yes.
And which account is it in?
It's in fund balance. So anything, or we have our catastrophic fund balance, and in the general fund, it's a 16%. This is sitting above that 16% in our fund balance right now.
How much do we have in the fund? Above it?
Oh, above that?
Yeah.
This is what we have right now, over our 16%, because we did contribute in 2022.
I understand.
So it's 3 million if you combine the two of them, or
Correct.
Okay, all right, got it.
And I guess it's a good time. The ACFR for 25 will be coming out in the next few months, for presentation to council, so it'll have an update on fund balance as well.
Next question, man, one more question. So that means we have about $3 million to spend, right?
Yes, but you will see the mid-year presentation where that money will be, we are asking you to, our recommendation is for you to use that money for this year's budget expenses for MOUs and operational needs.
Mayor Pro Tem Holton?
Yeah, so Mayor Iapez and I sit on the Finance Committee, and we had an opportunity to do a real deep dive into this today and actually sat down with some of the PARS folks. So this all looks great and a great return on investments. I think what the gentleman said was that the return over the last, I think there was like a 30-some-odd% return for one of the
Yeah.
years, which is,
Amazing.
yeah, that's a rarity to see. One question I did have during the finance committee that I intend to keep bringing up as we review all of our account holdings is, I'm curious about the banking institutions that oversee these dollars, and I'd like to ensure that they remain like local dollars. For example, the PARS account that has the 30+ some odd million, they contract with US Bank. I don't know the US Bank's presence in Lodi. I can't imagine it's very prolific, but you want to make sure that these dollars are able to be leveraged for various local projects. And we had Wells carry significant city dollars in their accounts as well. And I asked about the sort of community impact that they had, and they sent me some literature, and it was clear to me that these aren't dollars that are necessary. I mean, it was more like ag oriented, I think, if I recall correctly. But anyways, I intend to keep asking these questions at the finance committee because I want to ensure that whatever city reserves, whatever city dollars that we're investing, that we're able to see some of the upside there.
Yeah, I support that because we want to see that money spent locally, saved locally, so.
Council Brickman?
Mr. City Manager, along this same conversation, if we could get a summary of, again, what amount of funds we have invested, what amount is sitting in cash, what banks we're utilizing, what interest rates, some type of informative and detailed printout, that would be much appreciated. I would be looking at, yes, absolutely the rate of return that we're receiving, and then number two would be the local portion. So what would be the actual city of Lodi, not body as in this organization, but our residents receiving in us investing those dollars if they are community-oriented banks?
Yeah, so every quarter, the council does receive that information. So I'm glad that you asked, because in the next council meeting, you'll be getting the quarterly investment report, and that will show all of that information that you're requesting.
And that's not just for the general fund, it's for all departments?
It is all of the accounts that we have in our reserves. It shows you the rate of return, the different investment vehicles that money is placed in. And so that's the quarterly investment report.
Okay, and just to confirm, it's not just for general fund?
It is all funds. Yeah, reserves are all funds.
Correct. And it's going to go through which banks we have it with and interest rates and everything else?
It'll show you the exact banks. We are using two major financial institutions to manage our reserves or our trust fund. Wells Fargo Securities manages the reserves account. We also have funds locally with that through our cash. Other more sophisticated instruments are managed through Wells Fargo. And then the PARS Trust, as the Vice Mayor described, they have a partnership with US Bank. So we know that of the two major sources of reserves, neither one of those are Lodi institutions. So I can save you, and that won't be necessarily in the report, but you all know that.
Okay. And they list out in detail what specific investments were invested in?
Within the categories, correct.
Within the categories, okay. Would you be able to CC council in and send that out before the quarterly report or our last one?
Yes, we would be happy. You're going to see that in 2 weeks. And then the Finance Committee has a greater level of detail, and we're happy to send you that greater level of detail.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I was thinking. The presentation that we got from PERS, we should maybe send it to council, to Councilman Brickman, the one that we saw this morning.
Can I just follow up? Who's our investment advisor?
Wells Fargo Securities, and that's who the Finance Committee met before the holiday break.
Okay.
Was the person who makes the recommendations for the investments.
Okay.
The nature of these investments is that is not a fiduciary. They make recommendations, and then the city treasurer, myself, then authorizes the trades. As it relates to the pension trust, that is a complete trustee account. So they manage everything, and they are actively trading to be able, and we're seeing the results of that professional management. Versus the reserves are much more conservatively invested. We are limited by state law on what we can invest in with the general reserve accounts. So.
Thank you.
Okay, no more comments. So let's return to the presentation then.
Okay, the next slide, 1328, okay. This was actually a request from the mayor at one of the finance committee meetings, so I quickly put it together for today's presentation. So if the city contributed the end of year fund balance from general fund in fiscal year 23 and 24, the unfunded funding ratio would increase by 0.7% overall. So the graph table shows the addition of the contribution compared to the actual current funding ratio. And as you can see, these funds do not increase the funding ratio drastically in the short term. Okay, so now we're going to move into the general fund mid-year recommended budget adjustments. General fund revenues are currently estimated to come in under the revised budget projection by $188,000. Primarily, this is due to latest projections from HDL, the city sales tax consultant, indicating a decrease of $1 million in sales tax revenue compared to the 2024 fourth quarter HDL projection that was originally used for the budget adoption. These declines are being realized and projected in auto and transportation, buildings and construction, and food and drug sales taxes. Other decreases include the loss of AFG grant revenue in the amount of $492,000. And then this is due to the grant expiration that happened on December 31st of 2025, and lower than expected fire inspection and strike team revenue. So police lowered their projection modestly due to a lower post reimbursement for training in the amount of $25,000. But however, although we had these losses, they are partially offset by a projected increase of $1.3 million in interest income due to year-to-date actuals received higher than expected, and $233,000 transfer in from general fund capital to offset legal services related to employment matters, personnel, and financial investigation expenses.
Before you go to the next page, what is the AFG grant?
Do you want to speak to that?
Mayor, members of the council, the AFG grant was the Assistance to Fire grant that we received from the federal government in the tune of just about $1 million to send our people to paramedic school.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry, just Chief, so we didn't use all of that? Is that, because that's one of the questions that I had relevant to unexpended, the loss of the AFG grant revenue in the amount of $492.
So what had occurred was we could only send so many people through school at a time based upon staffing levels. And so our grant timeline initially was going to time out. So we asked for a grant extension so we could continue to add more bodies into that training program. And we actually completed what we had intended to do by sending 9 people through paramedic school. We asked for a grant extension, and we were awarded that grant extension, and also asked for 2 more positions to be filled. What we found was it was actually cheaper how we were going as far as what we had intended to do and what we had budgeted for. When we went through Sac State as our training institution, they provided a high level of training at a cheaper cost. And so we actually didn't realize the full cost that we had anticipated.
Okay.
So that brought that down. The other part of it was the AFG grants processes had allowed in previous AFG grants to realize those dollars on the back end to go to other aspects of your program. We had originally intended to buy like cardiac monitors on that what was left over in the program, so we wanted a little bit of cushion. With the new change in administration, they've changed their policies on what you're allowed to spend those allocated dollars through AFG, so we were no longer given that as an opportunity. We had to actually return any monies that was not part of the actual original agreement with the AFG.
So you're not concerned about, gosh, we couldn't spend what we needed to spend, so we returned it back, so are we going to jeopardize getting a future AFG grant because we didn't spend what?
No.
Not a problem? Okay.
In the past, AFG wanted you to spend all the
That's
dollars.
right, yeah.
And now they've changed their policy to be where that's not a practice anymore. We have asked for another extension, and with the government shutdown that took place back in the fall, they're still catching up, so they haven't yet realize whether they're going to accept or reject our grant extension. So we're kind of
So
in a
you
limbo
may,
state.
it's just kind of in limbo right now.
Right, and we have till May, till we have to pull that request
Okay.
back.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so the next slide is the table that pertains to the general fund revenue changes. And you'll see that the bottom line is it's 188,000. And this delta is comparison to the mid-year recommendation and the revised budget that we went over in the first few slides. Okay, so the overall general fund expenses are projected to be 2.9 million higher than the current revised budget of 95.3 million, for a total general fund appropriation of 98.2 million. The expenditure increases are due primarily to MOU salary and benefit changes, and that will be detailed on the next slide. I wanted to break it out for you. So this table shows the changes from the original budget by department. 2.4 million of the 2.9 is directly resulting in MOU negotiated changes and projected changes for unsigned MOUs. It also includes a police overtime increase of $250,000 and a fire part-time increase of $28,000 for an administrative assistant. The PERS employer contribution for the general fund is projected to increase by approximately $700,000. The city's medical contribution is increasing by almost $500,000, and salaries are increasing by approximately $857,000. So then all other benefits are increasing in the amount of $220,000. So that is a quick breakdown of the salary or the MOU changes, and then obviously the other salary changes that are requested by safety. Additional expense updates outside of the salary and benefit projections are an increase in expense in revenue for overages and budgeted bank service charges and are incurred from credit card and online payment fees in the amount of $130,000. The city council budget will increase in the amount of $70,000 for legislative advocacy. Human resources also needs an additional $21,500 appropriation for contracted services related to MOU negotiations. Non-departmental includes an appropriation in the amount of $233,000 for legal services related to employment matters, personnel, and financial investigation expenses. And this was in the revenue also as a transfer from the general fund capital. Public Works is in need of an additional $86,000 for unexpected repairs to facilities. The city's clerk budget is actually lowering their expenses, thank you, Olivia, due to election costs coming in lower than expected. Fire also has slightly lower expense projections due to the following: loss of the AFG grant in the amount of $42,690, an increase in Fire Academy costs of $35,000. Expenses related to MOU negotiations total $470,000.
Can I get a clarification back on bank service charges for credit card and online payment fees? $130,000. So tell me what that is. Are we not paying off our credit card
No.
each month? I mean, I want to know what that 130 is.
We are paying for other people's fees to pay us.
So, out in the real world right now, everybody accepts those fees. I mean, it's getting to the point, I go to a restaurant and I charge with a card and I'm now having to pay that fee. So should we be thinking about that as part of moving forward and getting kind of up to speed with what society's become used to?
Absolutely. And Tara, our revenue manager, is here if you want to ask her any questions regarding.
Should we be doing this? I just wonder if other governments are now kind of looking at the same thing, the cost of money in essence, so.
Good evening, Council. Yes, there are many cities that are passing on the cost. Typically, you see about $1.50 charge. That usually covers any cost that we get from, the credit card companies, the companies that we're using to process these fees, so $1.50 usually covers that. It is, like you said, a norm for it to be passed on to the customers now because it is getting so expensive. I did an analysis a while back, and if we were to pass that on, I think it was about $1 million that we would be saving.
Yeah, I think that's pretty considerable. I mean, the reason I say that is I pay, for example, I'm not 100%, this is general fund, but like when I pay my electric utility bill and I pay it with a credit card, it automatically comes out. If you're talking $1 million, I'm assuming that is beyond just the general fund that we're looking at. Is that correct? We're looking at all ways in which we
The city,
pay for services?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it would, community development has credit card machines. American Express fees are exorbitant.
They
It's
are,
like-
I know.
Like $35 for a simple transaction.
Mhm.
So these costs, we're paying for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to look at that. I'd like to see the breakdown in terms of fees, where it makes a lot of sense to do it, and where, and it could be in instances where it just doesn't make sense, or it's just exorbitant enough that it's, so somehow or another, I think we need, if we're talking about that level, that amount of money that we could save, that's substantial.
Yes.
And so, I appreciate you guys taking a
Don't
look.
quote me on that amount exactly.
No,
but
I'm not, but
it's been
it
about
is.
6 or 7 months ago that I run that, so
Yeah.
definitely if you want to see that, I can forward
I
it.
would like to see that, so.
Yeah, can we agendize the item for future discussion of council?
We were actually already planning on bringing you back a fee and having that be effective July 1. So I think with whatever normal fee cycle there is before the fiscal year, or if there's not, this will definitely be on the docket for you all to consider with the analysis you're looking for and the recommendation we adopt the fee. So
Okay.
100%.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So the next slide is the table showing the non-salary and benefit budget adjustments. And I would like to note that the revenue and for human resources and revenue are both housed in the Internal Services Department. So I said that wrong. The revenue division, their expenses, and the human resources expenses are in Internal Services. Okay. So now we're going to general fund mid-year capital. And council had a formal presentation at the August 6, 2025 council meeting regarding the unassigned proceeds from the waste management contract and the one-time surplus general fund capital funds. So the total funding available at that time was $1.6 million based on the available funds between the general fund capital and Parks and Recreation and Cultural Services, which is funded by the general fund. So all of the dollars that go into the Parks capital come from the general fund. So at that meeting, the council appropriated $290,000 to priority projects. In addition, $110,000 was appropriated at the November 19th, 2025 council meeting for work needed at Salis Park due to repairs as a result of vandalism. So this left $1.2 million for the plan of funding unexpected legal services related to employment matters, personnel, and financial investigations, and evaluating at mid-year what amount was available for additional projects. So it is recommended to transfer the $230,000 back to the general fund to offset the expenses, and that will leave approximately $900,000 for new projects. And Parks and Recreation is requesting to reallocate $590,000 from the skate park Phase 1 planning. So that's their first request. They're actually going to draw down on a already approved CIP. And then they're planning to take part of that $590,000 and put $175,000 in their repairs to the existing Kofu skate park. Then the remaining $415,000 and part of the remaining capital balance will be allocated to the Beckman Park cricket lighting and field improvements to complete this project. $40,000 is requested to complete the boiler replacement project at the police department. So this will leave approximately $100,000 in fund balance for unexpected overages that would come back to council for approval or for the availability to program in fiscal year 26-27. So the CIP forms for these specific projects were included in the packet. And Mrs. Jeremy is here if you have any questions.
So, I'm gonna start. So if this amount will be enough to do the lighting for the cricket field and Beckman Park and all the improvements that we talked about before?
Yes, that's correct. 900,000
So it
would
will-
be enough for Beckman Park.
So then it will be a complete project then?
It would.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Can I just note, I went back and looked at the meeting minutes from '23, and I just want to clarify, and I asked Mr. Ding ahead of time, the 25K sitting in the, is it still sitting in the Lodi Community Foundation Parks and Rec account?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I would just say that he intended it for a skate park. He's fine with going to the skate park repair, and so that 25 can supplement the 175, and then 25 from somewhere else goes into the Beckman Park cricket lighting. So that we can just make it nice and clean, and then send him a letter saying, thank you very much, here's your skate park. You know?
Understood.
So, thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move to enterprise and special funds, or as I'm labeling it, other funds revenues. They are recommended to be adjusted according to the list shown. Streets is expecting increases in revenue from Measure K and federal funding, but a decrease of $304,000 in development impact fees for a total of $1.7 million. Capital outlay decreases in the amount of $460,000 are due to development impact fees coming in lower due to slowing activity. Electric utility is projecting overall increase in revenue due to additional low carbon fuel standard funds from the state and an increase in ECA revenue due to higher power supply costs. Wastewater and water are both experiencing an increase in revenue from customer accounts due to usage. And employee benefits is expecting offsetting revenue from the increases in chiropractic and life insurance due to higher rates and increases in salaries due to MOU updates. So here is the table showing the proposed mid-year updates to revenue in other funds. And I'd like to note that electric utilities increase in low carbon fuel standard funds from the state amount to $880,000, which was also programmed as a transfer into the 501 capital account, and their funds all come together in their revenue. So there is also an internal transfer from their Fund 500 balance in the amount of $300,000 to the Capital 501 fund, which is on a future slide. So the actual net revenue to their operating fund balance is $1.4 million, with an increase of ECA revenue and decrease of base rate revenue.
Can I ask on the wastewater and water, is that just because of the rate increase and we just didn't really anticipate or budget for that being such a significant, I mean, it's almost $1 million short
each.
of. So is it just due to the rate increase?
It was on the covers or the notes we have with the back and forth with the department, it was based on usage, but the rate or the rates could be part of it as well. And I don't know, Sean, if you have more information than I do.
Yeah, I think, well, does that include those impact fees too for the water and wastewater?
The what?
The impact fees for those as well? Are those lumped in there?
Yes, it would be lumped into that.
So just when we do impact fee projections,
Okay.
A lot of that's development driven, and so we're kind of looking at what's in the pipeline and kind of guessing, and that's very specific to what it can be used for anyways. So the numbers fluctuate a decent amount based on those early projections. And then, yeah, you're going to have some usage-based stuff that just went in September. And
So we were just conservative in budgeting, and as
Yeah.
it turned out, probably we had more impact fees than we anticipated.
that's a big chunk
That's
of
what
that.
it was like. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, this is a good time to make those adjustments for if they are going to have more seeing a trend up in revenue, because it really helps project the fund balance when the new fiscal year planning comes, so we can see where they're at. Okay, so the enterprise and special funds are recommended to be adjusted according to the list below, and any changes not listed below are due to MOU negotiation projections. So the electric utility project projects an overall expenditure increase of almost 3.7 million, partially related to power supply costs due to soft market prices and less plant revenue. Other increases are related to capital expense, and that's on a future slide. And these are offset, however, by a reduction of approximately 1 million in transmission charges based on reduced energy consumption. Revenue to expense is a minor net fund balance decrease of $260,000. Community Development recommends moving 1.5 million for the comprehensive general plan from their operating budget to a capital project. This move will keep the funds within CDD, but allow for the unused expense to roll year to year over the length of the project. And per the purchasing policy, the general plan does qualify as a capital project.
Oh, so that's what I was going to ask. So if it's moving to capital project, what is the project? So that's what I was kind of looking at. So if you got 1.5 going from the comp plan to capital, that's not operational. So what's the project?
The general plan. So completing the plan, well, yeah. I'll let
So the
Juan-
point is,
It's expended, it's anticipated outside expenditures.
okay, so it's just moving a category from the comp plan to operating to a capital project so that it can carry over year to year. Okay.
Correct.
All right, so it still stays within community development to be used in a planning effort.
Correct.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, it does qualify as a capital plan because it is a multi-year project.
Okay.
And it obviously is over the limit of how much the cost. And the idea behind this too is right now, the department has to reprogram it every year based on what their actuals were for the year before. And with the planning process, that's really difficult. Yeah.
Okay.
So it, all around, it makes sense.
That's-
And it's gonna stay in their fund balance.
That's
so. Transit needs an additional 5,000 due to unexpected repairs to buildings. Police allocating fund, it wants to allocate funds from the vehicle replacement fund to outfit an animal services truck and an emergency response SUV. The employee benefits accounts for chiropractic are increasing due to contract increases as well as life insurance costs. That also directly correlates with the increase in employee salaries. Workers' comp is requesting an increased allocation of expenses from the fund balance. So there are two different funds, it's confusing because I say in workers' comp for both. So we have a fund that holds our employee benefits and one that holds our workers' comp or risk benefits. So both of those are increasing due to MOU negotiations, but our workers' comp, our risk wants to allocate $200,000 more for costs.
Mayor, I have a question? Yeah. Transit building, $5,000. I thought the transit was paid by federal funds.
Yes,
We build for buildings and so forth, we take care of that? So why the $5,000 for a transit building?
It could, but you have to allocate the expense before we can actually get the reimbursement. So those federal funds are reimbursable. So we have to allocate the cost of the repairs so they actually have the money available to do them, and then they can get reimbursed. I'm not positive if this specific $5,000 project is reimbursable, but I can follow up. Unless you know, Sean.
Yeah, I think that was cumulative of a few different adjustments, but that's all covered by transit. It's not general fund, but it is transit.
That's my question.
Okay, so this is the table showing the proposed mid-year updates to expense and other funds. Other increases shown are due to projected MOU negotiation increases. And in addition to the list on the prior slide, the salary and benefit increases across the other funds total approximately 1.6 million. So this is the table with the two capital requests from electric utility. Electric utility has a net decrease of 982,000 in capital project, increase of 982,000 in capital projects. The first is the EV charging infrastructure master plan, which outlines the projected need for EV charging stations across the city to support both passenger and medium and heavy-duty vehicles through 2030 and 2035. The fiscal year 25-26 includes low carbon fuel standard program funds that will be transferred to the EU's capital account for expenditure through this mid-year action. And then the substation intrusive maintenance work needs an additional 98,000 added for mid-year 26 to account for unexpected work at the industrial substation. So the CIP forms were also in the packet for these two projects. So now on to the mid-year personnel adjustments. Recommendations are for a net general fund increase of 1 employee and other funds net increase of 1 employee. And here are the recommendations. Add 1 police officer, community liaison officer. This position will follow the department's core value of safety and security for the community and will be assigned as the second officer to the CLO. This position will enable proactive policing downtown, and the savings from the ambassador program will fund this position, bringing internal, well-trained enforcement to this focused area. So this one is to add 1 senior billing specialist and replace 1 open customer service representative. Creating the senior billing specialist position is a critical investment in the success of the revenue division. This role, since it's a senior, will provide leadership and support to the billing team and overseeing staff. They'll offer hands-on training and resolve complex billing issues with expertise. They are planning for this also to overlap and assist with customer service during high demand periods and act like a supervisor when needed. Again, this will take the place of 1 customer service representative that is vacant. So we had a request for it to reclass the assistant city clerk. The incumbent has been performing higher level duties for the past year, and this action will add the classification. Before this happens, so you'll approve this to move forward, but Human Resources will determine if the candidate is qualified for the position before formally reclassifying. And the updated salary table will be completed by Human Resources and brought to council before incoming months for approval. So if you approve this, you'll be seeing it again.
I do have one question, if I may. I see non-general fund position says the recreation manager, program coordinator under parks. Parks is general fund. Could you go over that, please?
It is general fund, Parks is general funded. Their percentage, I believe, is about 75%. They do fund part of their operations themselves with fees. This one, and I'll get to it, but this one would actually be assigned to Lodi Lake. And since they have implemented some new fee structures there and they are realizing some more revenue, this person would actually be a higher level oversight of Lodi Lake and the activities that are going on there.
Is that full-time?
So this request is actually for a reclassification of our current program manager at Lodi Lake.
Okay.
Into a recreation manager because
the
of
next level.
the expanded duties.
Got it.
But of course, HR would need to approve that reclass.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, would be for the city attorney, I guess. So health and safety specialists can't hire somebody, haven't been able to do that. What does a management analyst confidential do? Is that a completely different position?
It is. We currently have a risk management analyst that handles primarily our workers' compensation claims process, works with our division subrogation if there are issues, getting restitution payments and things. Those are primarily handled by our current analyst. And so with the difficulty in recruiting for the health and safety specialist position, we're asking for this change to allow a second kind of versatile type risk analyst position that can kind of help out with some of those other duties, cross-train. And then we will lean on safety consultants and stuff that will still be directed by that analyst position, working on consultants on the safety side. But this would be kind of more of a flex position rather than just health and safety specialized, but could help out on some of those
So
other
you think
duties.
it's much easier to recruit for that?
That's what we're hoping, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question on that.
What's the requirements, when you advertise for health and safety specialists, what are some basic requirements?
So we were looking for basically professionals who had experience in training, working with OSHA, responding to workplace injuries, things, working and developing plans. It was a new position that we had started out, and so setting up the structure of a safety program, and that's kind of what we've been focused on. But there is not, it's a narrow field, and so it's hard to find professionals in this area.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, well, the last one we haven't gone over is senior plans examiner. And the quick synopsis of that is that CDD relies on contract services for building and fire code plan review and currently outsources this position. So creating this position will substantially reduce the dependence on these contractors and will allow CDD to retain a substantial amount of revenue by keeping plan review services in-house. This position is also responsible for training and developing new plan examiners to promote growth and sustainability, creating less reliance on contract services in the future.
So you're pretty much taking it from the money from contract services and putting it into a full-time employee?
This represents $130,000 less in cost to us annually with
Even better.
in-house
Okay.
services, which will be greatly increased.
Okay, great.
I will say this one does have to come back to you from HR2 to set the salary table for it. Okay, so that wraps up the mid-year review, and the recommended action tonight is to adopt the budget and fiscal policy updates, adjust appropriations in various funds to address fiscal year 26 needs, and approve the personnel adjustments as outlined in this presentation and in the staff report. And if you have any additional questions?
Thank you.
staff is here.
Thank you for the presentation. Does council have any additional clarifying questions?
I just have one comment, and, oh, Luis is still here, good. No, you cannot hide, okay. And I'm bringing it up now because we have to really look at the opportunities for implementation of the economic development planning moving forward, and I'll probably discuss it again on February 18th. But I really would like us, at this point in time, to revisit the business tax, because we all know exactly what happened with that fiasco. But at the same time, when I look at other cities, they're collecting business tax, and I don't know how we're going to fund the economic development plan if we're not looking forward to reinvesting in our business community, and having the business community address that tax is really the logical way for that to happen. So, I'm not a big one for adding a tax, but in this instance, I can't think of another way we're going to fund economic development. So I think we at least need to look at it, do some comparatives to other communities, and see what their tax rate is. We need to find out what the stomach is of our business community to pay a tax that goes back into business expansion. And so I just want to know what the process would be, and to start those conversations with our stakeholders. That's the only.
I think you just mapped out the process. First is bring it back to council for discussion with some research of staff.
Right.
Determine if there is a council consensus.
Right.
That this is something that you would then like us to do outreach on, and then map out the process. Well, we will have the process mapped out when we come back for the council discussion.
Yeah. Okay.
So once, you're absolutely right, we're going to adopt the strategic plan first. And then in the coming months, then the staff can return to you with that discussion item with some research, and then seek consensus to be able to continue the effort.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, we're gonna move to public comments. City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Mayor, I don't have any comment cards for this item, and I don't have any members of the public on Zoom anymore, so you're more than welcome to open it to the audience.
Okay, I'm gonna open it for public comments. Seeing none, I'm gonna return for final comments from the council. So I just wanna, seeing none, then I will speak. I just wanna congratulate you all for thinking outside the box with like, community development, moving those funds to other areas, because we need to do the plan at some point. So we need to have the money set up, so when we're ready to do it, we can do it. For the city clerk for reducing costs in an election year, so thank you for doing that. And yeah, so thank you. So now I will go back to council and I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
And it passes. Seeing no more actions on the agenda, I will adjourn this meeting at 10:09 p.m.